Oh. Was I ending? All right, let me get shit pulled up. All right, we got gameplay reveal, gameplay overview, cinematic short. And there's a 3-hour reveal showcase. Jesus. All right. I guess we'll start with what was uploaded first, which is the gameplay reveal. Oh. Wait, I didn't mean to click on that. Green Bungie logo. Why does it? This looks like every Destiny trailer ever, just with like the marathon aesthetic, or the new marathon aesthetic, I should say. Okay. Potato aim. Def. Okay. The speaker from Destiny, but evil. I have to sneeze. Help. Okay. Cabal? Okay, this music is kind of AIDS, I'm not gonna lie to you. Shield thingy. Sprint, slide. Air ducts, naturally. Melee. Escape will make me god. Some tweaking AI. That's never good. I'm still like on the fence about the aesthetic of the characters. But I mean, that basically looks like every fucking Destiny trailer ever. So as far as like the gunplay and the movement, it seems like that's gonna be fine. I don't know like what else I can really glean from that. Gameplay overview. I guess I should probably have this included in the VOD in case I decide I want to make content out of it. Oh! Let me run that back, actually. I don't miss anything of interest. That was weird. Halo rings. Okay. And a fire team. Okay. Halo sniper, let's go. Okay. Killing another team.
Marathon is a team-based extraction shooter set around a mysterious and cutthroat world.
Tell me more.
34. You are a runner, a cybernetic mercenary who's given up their human form for a biosynthetic shell with unique abilities and stats.
Okay.
capable of both tactical and fast-paced combat. Here you'll fight in a crew of up to 3 players across a variety of zones.
I'll
and
fight by
points of
myself.
interest. You'll face rival runners in zones of up to 18 players,
Okay.
countless security forces, and otherworldly threats.
Yeah.
To scavenge the remains of a lost colony for glory and fortune.
Okay.
The environments of Tau Ceti 4 are filled with weapons, materials, and equipment you can scavenge throughout the map.
Yeah.
Before
Not the
deploying,
shit can.
you'll strategically build your loadout and select a runner to ensure you're equipped for the run ahead.
Okay.
Your objective is simple. Get in, gather as much loot as you can, and make it out alive.
All right.
Die, and all your gear will be up for grabs. Survive, and your loot can be taken into future runs as you grow in power and fill your vault.
Okay.
Death is inevitable, but it's never the end. Think quickly on your feet and outplay your opponents, and in your next run, you and your teammates will be the ones coming out on top.
I kind of like the idea
And
of
even
this,
if you're down
honestly.
on
Just
your
like
luck,
building an arsenal of
factions
shit
can
over
sponsor
time.
you with a fresh loadout, so you can get right back into the fight.
Okay.
Bungie brings its best-in-class first-person multiplayer action to the forefront. Dynamic and tactile gunplay.
Yeah.
Runners with unique playstyles and customizable builds create highly dynamic and strategic team fights.
Okay.
Whether you're on a zero-to-hero run or high-rolling with powerful gear, you'll need to use your best judgment when you decide which fights to pick and how. Because no matter how geared you are, players with skill and strategy will always have the edge. Marathon
You
is
might have
designed
good
to be
luck,
played
maybe,
in
but I'm gonna
crews
shoot you in the
with
fucking
contextual
face.
pings,
Yeah.
shared objectives,
Oh, we got pings!
down but
I mean,
not
it doesn't
out
matter.
to
I'm gonna be
streamline
playing by
playing with your
myself. But
friends.
it's got pings.
Death is not the end. And if you're the last one standing,
What
you
up,
can
Danny?
overcome the odds to revive your teammates and get out with your hard-earned loot. And if you believe your skills alone are enough to conquer any challenge, we give you the freedom to opt out.
Oh,
of
I see
crew
we have
fill
the baby
to take
grenade
all the
throw
glory
arc.
for yourself as a solo runner. No 2 runs in Marathon ever play out the
These
same.
animations are
With
ass.
dynamic events, variable weather, and unpredictable
Dang.
players, you'll have to adapt on the fly if you want to survive. Each run has a time limit.
This
and
looks like
anything can
Destiny.
happen while you're chasing your objective. Looking to unlock upgrades or increase your faction reputation? Slip into the shadows as Void. And
I
ghost
mean, I
past
guess
your
if you think
enemies.
Destiny looks like
Search
ass, then
the
I
map
get
for
it.
rare materials
I'm not
and
crazy
profit
about like the
opportunities
art style of the
without being
characters.
discovered.
I mean, the animations are
Want to push enemy teams and
whatever.
steal their loot? Bring in Glitch with agility and
like about what I expected, I guess.
weapons to disrupt rival crews. Running support for your friends.
Still has better running
Extra
animation
equipment,
than fucking
shield
Overwatch
charges,
or
and a
Marvel Rivals.
specialized backpack to be the
Their
lifeline
feet
they
actually
need.
touch the ground.
You're always free to
Not that that's a high
experiment
bar.
with team compositions, and the only limit to how you want to play your runner is your loot and imagination. Endgame challenges, ranked play, discovering secrets, seasonal storytelling, community events, and more
Oh.
all await you in season
Of course,
1,
yeah.
where you and your friends will start to
Seasons,
unravel
live
the
service,
mysteries
AIDS.
of Tau Ceti 4. Remember, you're only ever one run away from your next big score.
I don't know, like it literally just looks like a Destiny trailer to me. Like it doesn't look like that much is different other than it's like a lower fidelity like style of ew. What the fuck is this? Why is this in my recommended? Leave me alone. I'm streaming too much for that. Okay, see this shit right here? That's the shit I like to see. I just don't know if this game is going to be a good vehicle for telling a story, because with Seasons, they're probably just going to rotate story out of the game, just like they do with Destiny, right? Gonna be ass. What the fuck are we wearing, bro? That doesn't look good. Huh. Okay. A Sith Lord? That looks like it fucking hurts. Damn. That's what you gotta do?
I met a traveler from an antique land who said, two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert.
Okay.
Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that it sought to well those passions red which yet survive.
What the fuck is this? Is blood waffling about?
The hand that mocked them, and the heart that fed.
You know, I don't know if the animations are ass or if everybody just has unnaturally long arms. Like, look at these things, bro. This people can dunk from standing.
I mean, it feels just like what it is, right? Like $1 trillion. Like $1 trillion.
Sakaguchi Genetics sent a reminder.
What are we doing here, bruv?
Will be charged against your line of credit.
Yeah, I know. Do you mind if we skip the formalities this time? Got a big contract waiting down there, so.
Understood. Let's proceed with your grounding exercise. Are you familiar with this item?
That's my lucky charm. Yeah. It's supposed to be my lucky charm.
It's just like... I don't know. Terminators, cool. How long that shield finna last, bro? Oh, that long. Can we go prone in this game, or is this fuckery? That's not good, mate. You gonna lit the fuck up. My brother's dead.
Can you identify her?
Yeah, that's my mom. That's your mother. Your mother.
Now,
You know that's
consider
Brother, what
this.
is going
Do
on?
you recognize this child?
Who are you? I don't know.
It's you.
What? Really?
I just... Like... I don't know why they had to make the character design so fucking off-putting. It's like, not like Conquered. But like... I don't know, bro.
Hey, what's that you're
I don't
always
get
too
it.
into? Worth anything?
I don't know, but I like it. It speaks to me.
Let me listen.
Yeah, go ahead.
You ever wonder what happened to these people?
It's not my business.
And this music is?
It is Crow.
You'll have a tough time finding a buyer.
Good. It's not for sale. Give it to me.
No, like this is a really weird experience for me, because like there's a lot about this that I do like, and then there's just stuff about it that I'm like, fucking why though? Why her lips are an X, bro? That might be the thing that's bothering me the most. I think you could have gotten away with everything else about this design. This shit, I don't. What are we doing, bro? I get she's quirky. Like, I get it. I get it. It's too much. And this color palette is just weird. It's weird. It's weird. Are we really like this colorful in space? Is that the plan? Like, I don't know. Or they just want to like chase the fucking like Toys R Us shooter audience. I don't get it. But like atmosphere wise, like the action wise, like all this shit looks good. I don't know. I'm so confused. Damn. Damn. I feel like they're doing a good job on like selling like the concept. You know what I mean?
And on the pedestal, these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remain. Nothing beside remain. Round the decay of that colossal.
All right. Sold.
Round the decay of that boundless mosaic. Boundless, alone and level sand.
Dude, I'm whoever that was off screen right there. That's me, the last shooter. Yeah. What up, Oreo? See, this right here, this is the shit. That shit right there. Damn, packed up. Never mind, it's not me. But I don't know who that was, but they moved funny.
Do you recognize this child?
What is happening?
Is that me?
What the fuck, bro? Eh? Oh, wait, whoa. By Pinkman TV plus Illusorium plus Agora, written and directed by... Oh, this is credits. Okay. Probably. Surely there's nothing hidden in here. This is a fucking barcode. Or something. Yeah? I hate it here, bro. The gameplay just felt flat. I mean, it looked like what I expected it to look like. It looked like Destiny, it looked like a Destiny extraction shooter, as far as the gunplay, I guess. I don't know. I guess I need to know what the fucking point is. Like, I get the concept, but like, what are we? What's the goal? What am I doing this for? Like, just for fun? I mean, like, there's gonna be a story. How? This shit is 3 hours. What the fuck is going on? Is this just all fuckery? Oh, this is driving the shit around the bungo building. Okay. Interesting. Bungie, we are inside you. That was the plan. They did let us go inside.
Bungie HQ here in beautiful Washington, where we're coming to you live with the opportunity to share a little bit of
Tired of
Marathon
dumb
gameplay with you for the very
broads,
first time.
what they
My name's
did.
Andy. I work on the social media team here, and we've got a awesome show
What
lined
up,
up for
Andy?
you with a little surprise at the end that you're going to want to stick around to. So make sure to go ahead and not tune out early. But no need to worry. You're not going to have to sit here and listen to me. I'm joined by some of my teammates here at Bungie to walk us through some of what we're going to be seeing
Is this a
today.
hive worm?
So no time like the present. Let's get into the show.
That's funny.
First things first, this gentleman here to my right, to your left, is Marathon's game director, Mr. Joe Ziegler.
That might be the hive worm
Joe.
plushie.
I'm doing great.
Worm
Thank you very much.
friend.
Like, super excited to finally show something about our game. You know, we've been a little bit
I'm
silent
not
for a
gonna
while,
lie,
but
the Destiny
we're hoping
plushies
you'll
are
have a lot of fun
godlike.
today.
Yeah, we'll have another video in addition
I
to
don't
the one
own
just
any
you
of
in
them,
your
but I
office
saw
hanging
them. And I
out.
was just
Exactly.
like,
Yeah, I
yeah.
won't be talking for like 20 minutes straight this time. I promise, yeah.
So for anyone out there that may not know you or what you do here, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
I work with a lot of amazing people. Some of the people on this stage, a lot of people.
oh
who
yeah,
are
this
sort of in
fella
the
used to
audience
be
here
a
today.
riot. He's the game director
like,
because
my goal is
the
ultimately to
previous
take sort
game
of all the
director
ideas
was
that
a
we have, bring
fucking
them together into a
pervert,
singular experience, and
allegedly.
help to deliver that experience
Not
as a single
allegedly.
player, so.
Allegedly.
Thank you
For
very much
legal
for being
reasons.
here today, man. And
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. As we go on down the line, we're also joined by a man who's been instrumental in bringing the worlds
I'll
of both games and
reserve
film to life.
judgment
Our
until the
franchise
game
art director,
happens.
Mr. Joe Cross. Joe, how's it going?
Y'all know how I feel about Riot Games.
Joe, for anyone, obviously you've got some fans here, but for anyone out there in the audience at home that may not know you or doesn't get a chance to work with you, can you tell us just a little bit about who you are and what you do here?
Yeah, so I'm Joe Cross. I'm franchise art director of Marathon.
Oh,
And,
so it's your fault.
You know, my job is to sort of set the tone and the vision, the visual style of this
so it's your
reimagined
fault,
design
Joe.
and this this amazing game.
I might got
And
beef with
then,
Joe.
You know, make sure that our world-class art team is set up for
Yeah,
success.
so it was you.
Paving the way a bit.
Awesome. Well,
This
thank you
is
very much for
what-
everything. We're going to have a lot to dig into today, so thank
A
you for being
space
here as well.
colony
As we
in the
go right on
Marathon
down the line, we
universe
have,
where
without
we
a doubt,
sealed the
most
work
important
in
Andrew on the
Cacenter
stage here
inside
today.
the sun looks like
Our
to
gameplay
you.
director, Mr. Andrew Witz.
Where
How's it going?
Durandal rampages on his captured 4 ship, the Boomer.
Witz, for anyone out there that may be just meeting you for the first
Okay,
time, can
maybe
you
it
tell
looks
us just
like
a little
that
bit
with the
about
Boomer.
yourself?
Yeah, Andrew Witz, I'm the gameplay director.
Boomer, when I read that shit, I was
set
just
up
like,
what
alright,
the
this guy's
sandbox,
my
the survival
fucking
sandbox of
goat.
Marathon is gonna be, so that's runners,
So
weapons,
Durandal
and
is like a
equipment,
human AI
and
who
the
went
combatants, the
rampant.
USC
He was
that
like one of
are
3
gonna be,
AIs
hunting
aboard
players on
the
Tau
ship,
Ceti.
the
So,
Marathon.
Yeah, what up to the gameplay team?
And his only
Thank you all
function
for
was
all
to
your work.
open and close doors,
of course,
and
last
he
but
became
exceptionally not
aware
least,
of his
someone who you've probably seen
existence
in Bungie
and
Vita
turned
in the
against
past, and
his
someone who's been able to
creators.
help guide design
And at
here
some point, he
Bungie
broke
since
out
Halo
of
3.
the
The
marathon
only Mr.
and was
Senior
able to
designer here,
capture a
rather, the
4
one, the only
ship.
Mr.
Those are
Lars
the
Bakken.
aliens in this. They're the Covenant, basically. And he somehow killed the entire crew, probably by venting the atmosphere or something like that, and then commandeered it and renamed it the Boomer, and began waging a fucking campaign against various 4 worlds, pulling up and bombarding them from orbit.
I'm a senior design lead on the Run team.
My
Shout out to
fucking
Run team, everyone
goat.
that's out there right now. A lot of fans out
That's
there.
Durandal.
So the Run team is consisting of, we make the maps, so the zones that you're going
Pulling up
into.
from 3,
we
letting the
make
hell rain.
activities,
Yeah,
so we take some of the
exactly.
cool stuff that Andrew's team, we remix it, we add the
Caterpillar.
USC in, we make them real difficult on
This is
purpose.
a glow-in-the-dark
And then we also
shirt, by
have
the way. I
contracts
respect it.
team, which
That's
are the
Caterpillar.
factions, the corporations that players are sort of doing deals with because they're mercenaries, and that gets a little bit down into sort of the missions and everything. And so that's the stuff I hopefully make everyone proud with.
Well, we'll get into that here very shortly, but no, thank you all for starters all for being here. Before we get started as well, a quick reminder, do yourself a favor, make sure you've got your Bungie and your Twitch account linked to make sure you don't miss out on the Twitch drop that's going on right now. And if you also go ahead and subscribe to any channel in the Marathon directory, you can get a special little cat next to your name to go ahead and
Look
join
at
us
him.
over here today. So go out there, find a streamer you haven't found before, and make sure and drop a sub out there and share the love.
Oh, I had to drop a
And
sub. That's
also,
why I didn't
if
get
you
it. My
have
bad.
dropped
You
your
call
sub
me
here
Young
on
Rogue
Marathon
Boy.
Game, worry not, that money all goes to the Bungie Foundation, so thank you for helping us help them do some
Tex
good out there.
Mechanica, enjoy.
And now we have a big show again lined up. We've got some gameplay on the way coming up very shortly. We had a chance to go ahead and work with some creators and press very recently, and we're going to show you what they thought of the game. And of course, again, I'll repeat myself, but we've got something
Tex
really great for you at the end
Mechanica,
of the show,
hell
so
yeah,
make sure to
fuck
stick
Tex
around.
Mechanica.
But again, the purpose
I can
of
never
today is to show
forgive
some
them for
gameplay. So
DMT
Ziegler, I'd love to hand the mic to you for this next
the
part.
first
Yeah,
or
so
second
before we
times.
get started, obviously there's a lot to talk about today. We have a little bit of a taste to show you about what our
No,
game
you
is
don't know.
about,
You didn't
just
play
to
on
kick us
PC.
off, so we can put some images to what we've been talking about here. So
You have no idea.
let's take a look.
You don't know what it's like to literally be the only gun you see for like 4 months. All right, we're watching this again. All right, this show is cool. Danny hating on the animations. They look fine to me. Now, what I will say I didn't like is that aim right there and that, like, Tarkov, like, clunkiness to it. I hope that it isn't, like, a clunky extraction shooter and that was just for, like, visual purposes. I hope it's, like, an extraction shooter in parentheses, like, tight, fast bungo gameplay.
Yours. Now, run.
My dream, now yours. Who talking to me? Cabal. This music is AIDS, though. I'm not gonna lie to you. I said that the first time. I'm gonna say it again. I hate the little. Shit sounds like ass. Somebody going rampant. I said perish. Oh, the stabbing animation kind of buns. I ain't gonna hold you. But yeah, the gameplay trailer they showed was sick. Like everybody just kept dying. Like it's an extraction shooter, so if you get killed, you lose all your shit.
And in addition to that,
You have to get back and extract successfully, go to orbit, and put it in your vault to keep it. So
you can be a part of. Now, as a quick heads up, this is going to be focused on North America, 18.
It's gonna be a stressful game for sure.
There's going to be a big chance
that,
to play up front,
or
but
you
don't worry,
just
there's
get
gonna be
really
other
good with
opportunities
shit
to
that
play later. So to make sure
is
you're caught up with all
easy
the
to
details
acquire
and
and smoke everyone with that, and
head
never
over
put
to our
any of your
Discord,
good shit at risk.
discord.gg/marathon the game. And of course, if you're here in
I'ma
Twitch
follow
chat
your
with us
raid
today,
group.
you've already done yourself a big favor. Members of
Real
our community
cutty light.
and moderation teams are going to be going out.
See, you got friends,
and,
but you won't be
looking
weak
for
by the
folks
end.
to,
All three of you.
to drop
Just gonna
codes to as
pick you
well to
off.
make sure that you
Single
can get priority
grenade. You think you
access
looting that
when the
chest?
alpha kicks
No,
off.
that's
So
my loot.
go ahead and keep an eye out on your inbox. There's no exclamation point drops or anything you need to do, though I'm sure folks will do it anyway. But worry not, you've gone ahead and done yourself a favor by being here today. But
That's my
let's
loot.
get into it. What did we just see?
A lot of
Not
death,
even our
you know,
loot,
as far as what I
comrade.
saw.
I'm
But
my
honestly, you saw a
comrade.
first glimpse of some of what's going on in Marathon, you know, our extraction shooter that we're creating over here. And it's got a little bit of everything. It's got some runners in there.
loot you
It's
getting
got some weapons in
slain.
there. It's got some
Paranoid.
crazy
Checking
stuff
all
happening.
these
Yeah.
Yeah, a little
corners.
taste of the weapons in there. You saw some alternate weapon actions. The flip scope.
Dude,
is
why
in
are
there,
these
so
chairs so
weapons are gonna
short?
do
My
more
man
than
is
just
like
shoot,
in the
obviously.
ground.
It's a Bungie game. We gotta like really push things. Yeah, a lot of runner abilities are in there as well. The UESC, obviously a little taste of the UESC and what they're capable of. Yeah, a lot of awesome stuff.
And some fun world interactions too. Like there's that sequence where the shutters go down and then everything goes wrong for the team that's in that room. But that's it's pretty cool to see those.
For the
things.
record, every
goes
like
wrong in the
video
game,
that
so it's
I've
very
seen
story.
talking about this has been negative, and I've chosen to watch none of them so that my opinion is not tainted by what anyone else thinks.
I mean, extraction shooters are something that are a passion of all of ours. Like, we really like the idea of bringing this experience that we've all enjoyed, which is this kind of intense survival-based experience where you are.
The trailer definitely
frequently
conveyed that, so
unsure
if
of
you
what's
pull
gonna
it off,
happen
I
next,
mean,
but you're on that adventurous ride.
sounds
of it.
like
You
at
know,
least
it's
that
we
core
talk about sort of
gameplay
it's like
loop
horror
is
story that's kind of
met.
unfolding before you. And testing yourself to see if you can survive it. And we really wanted to take that and sort of, I don't know, bring a lot more people into it. When you love something, you really kind of want to just, you know, attract others to it, and so you can have a bigger party with it. And so, yeah, we've been doing a lot of work to make that happen.
Yeah.
So that's why it looks like that.
Lars, obviously, Bungie's got a
You
long
need,
history of shooters. but this
colors
is a
for all
new
the fucking
type
Toys
altogether
R
for
Us
us to dive
shooter
into.
players.
From your side, what's it been like designing for all of this?
It's been fantastic. So when I started at Bungie, it was on the multiplayer team, and I am a competitive person in my nature. I really enjoy PvP. And so having to take that in the marathon game and think about every single angle of every design, knowing that there will be other human beings in, around, and on the other side of it has just been fascinating and really exhilarating for myself personally. And I also know
That
for
does
the
sound
team.
fun. I'm not gonna lie.
It's been really exciting to see. And
You
you know,
like-
obviously,
you
mentioned
like
we saw a lot. We saw
find
some
all
runners.
the little spots as
Mr.
you
Witt, can
create
you do me a
them?
favor and help introduce these
know
4
what I mean?
runners that are going to be available when the closed alpha test begins?
Yeah, for sure. We'll have 6 runners at launch, but we're focusing on the core 4 here for they're going to be in the alpha. So going left
Okay.
to right, we have Locust. Locust is our soldier kind of fantasy, our soldier kit, all about push forward gameplay, right? The first one in, trying to get as many picks
Titan.
as possible, right? Against either the UESC or other players. Next we have Blackbird. It's very reconnaissance-based kit.
Hunter.
All about like figuring out where players and enemies are in
Yeah,
general. and
hunters get
punishing
to
poor
wear
positioning.
fucking the table in
Glitch
this
is like our
game. Get
agile
fucked.
disruptor kind of kit, all about pushing forward, disrupting enemy teams and what they're doing, and getting out and kind of having that kind of cycle.
It looks like there's
Void
3
is our,
hunters,
is
actually.
our stealth boy, our sneaky boy, all about throwing down
It's like
smokes,
a Titan
going
and 3
full
hunters.
active
We're my
camo cloak,
warlocks.
into the darkness, getting some reses, and then taking some people by
Unless
surprise. So yeah, this is our
Quirky
core
is-
4 right now for
Very
alpha.
exciting. A lot of different
Oh,
playstyles to
she's
choose from
called
out of the gate.
Glitch.
And even furthermore, Joe Cross,
You know what? I'll allow it.
also, if anyone's not following Joe Cross on Twitter, do yourself a favor and do so. But you've been
That's why she
sharing some
tweaking.
art with these runners pretty recently out there on Twitter with everyone. You know, before the show, we were talking a little bit, and I've heard this come up a lot, but you know, you guys have been working off of this concept of graphic realism. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is and what that means?
Graphic realism.
For the design here?
Yeah, it's one of our ingredients that we've sort of conjured up to help us define the visual world. For these runners, you know, the first thing we wanted to make sure was their visual fantasy reflected the gameplay fantasy well. And then we sort of have our you know, unique recipe of influences and inspirations for the reimagining of this world. And one of those sort of constraints we've created is this idea of graphic realism, where we kind of reduce the amount of geometry, we limit our materials, we use a lot of graphic design and color, and we sort of use it as a tool to onboard artists who are working on the project. And then it doesn't hurt to have a world-class concept team cranking this stuff out. And that's sort of the origin of a lot of these designs.
Yeah. And you know, obviously the
The fuck is blood waffling about?
world of Marathon has so much legacy to it as well. You know, as a kid who grew up playing it, I know it well myself. But like, what's it been like stepping
Is he not
into this
talking about
world?
visual realism as in it looks realistic? He's talking about visual realism as in your realization of the visual. What the fuck does that even mean?
It's amazing. Yeah, for art geeks out there, the sort of the father of the marathon visual world in a lot of ways is this guy Craig Mullins, who you see art represented on.
Okay, can we? Okay. This is from Old Marathon. Okay, you see this? You see this right here? You see this aesthetic? This is what Old Marathon looks like. Okay? It's like Bungie's darkest IP. It's far darker than Halo. Look at it. He's holding a fucking skull with the spine still attached. This your man's. That's who you play as. The first Piccolo key better? Yeah, it is. This is what Marathon used to look like. Like, this is the old aesthetic. So, my biggest gripe so far, also, what's up, Destiny, is the visual style. And all I'm hearing as this fella is talking about it is blood is waffling, and it doesn't have to look like this, but like, brother, this shit looks like fucking Legos. Like, I'm not crazy about the aesthetic. I'm not even gonna be generous. I don't like it. I do not like the new aesthetic. Now, there are a lot of things I do like about it. The game so far. The aesthetic, I hate it.
Left
I'm gonna
started
say
out
it.
as a fan, then got
I hate
incorporated into the IP officially by Bungie, and so his legacy looms super large. And we've always tried to, pay attention, pay homage, make sure we were doing justice. And you can see here in the center, this is kind of a proto runner we developed early in the process to make sure that, our sort of approach to graphic realism and style lined up and sort of represented that.
Brother, you
and
keep
then
using this
on the
phrase.
right
I'm
here,
not sure
sort
you
of
know
an
what it
evolution
means.
into one of our actual
Maybe I'm
runners here,
stupid.
Blackbird,
Maybe words don't mean
with a
what
similar
words mean.
fantasy,
I could just
and
be an
composition.
idiot.
So I think it's working out well.
Uneducated.
And I think
I don't have an art
doing
degree
something
after
new,
all.
but also sort of looking back.
It's like a 3-panel study on how to hold a spine, right? Is where you're like
The loot menus look like
it's really
Roblox.
awesome, yeah.
Is that a
Is this
good or a
fine?
bad thing? I've never played Roblox.
Could be.
Okay.
Excellent. Well, that said, if anyone out there in Twitch chat as well has any questions, go ahead and drop them in. We're going to try and answer as many as we can. We're going to be showing again a lot of
Why
stuff today,
on
so if you've
earth
got anything that
did
comes
you
to mind,
hire
please
Mans?
feel free to
He
throw it in there.
okayed all
Folks on the community
this?
team are going to be keeping an
Why
eye
didn't
out,
you
but,
hire me?
We've obviously got a
Man,
chance to go ahead and dive a little
shit.
deeper.
I don't
We've
have
done
art degree,
some
but
some telling
shit, that
to
art
do some
direction
more
would've
showing by
been
taking a bit of a deeper
man,
dive into some more marathon gameplay.
Let's do it.
Depends on who you ask. Captured on PC. All right, so I did watch this already, but we'll watch it again. 'Cause it's interesting. I do have one gripe. I notice a distinct lack of fat asses. What's up with that? $28.93.
Marathon is a team-based extraction shooter.
Yes,
set
tell me
around the
more.
mysterious and cutthroat world of Tau Ceti 4. You are a runner.
Yes,
A
I am.
cybernetic mercenary who's given up their
Mercenary.
human form for a biosynthetic
I can't even say it like
shell
that.
with
Mercenary.
unique abilities and stats.
There we go.
Capable of both tactical and fast-paced combat.
Stealth.
Here you'll fight in a crew of up to 3 players across a variety of zones. and
Void
modes of
Hunter Crutch still an option.
You'll face rival runners
As long
in
as you're
zones of
okay
up
with
to
looking like
18
Crow.
players, countless security forces,
Toys R Us Crow.
and otherworldly threats. To scavenge the remains of a lost colony for glory and fortune. The environments of Tau Ceti 4 are filled with weapons, materials, and equipment you can scavenge throughout the map. Before deploying, you'll strategically build your loadout and select a runner to ensure you're equipped for the run ahead.
Yeah. No heavy machine guns for me. I hate being a slow mover.
Get in, gather as much loot as you can, and make it out alive. Die. and all
That
your
sounds like a
gear will be
plasma
off the
grenade, I
ground.
just realized.
Survive, and your loot can be taken into future runs as you grow in power and fill your vault. Death
I mean, the loot menu looks functional, I guess. I mean, it's pretty minimalist,
Think
which
quickly on your feet
I think is
and outplay your
good.
opponents. And in your next run, you and your teammates
Not too much
will be the
visual
ones coming
clutter. I
out
can
on
just
top.
see all my shit.
And even if you're down on your luck,
I mean, I could be wrong. I've never played one of
factions
these
can
games.
sponsor
Obviously, you
you
have to
with
deal
a
with that
fresh
shit in
loadout,
real
so
time
you
with
can
the
get right
potential
back
of
into the
people.
fight.
Also, this is a Scar Age in space.
Bungie brings its best-in-class
Hot topic,
first-person
Scar Age?
outplay your opponents, and in your next run, you and your teammates will be the ones coming out on top.
My bad, I had to run it back.
And even if you're down on your luck, factions
Hot
can
topic,
sponsor
Scar
you with a
Age
fresh
with
loadout, so you can get right back into the fight.
Thing.
Bungie brings its best-in-class first-person multiplayer action to the forefront. dynamic and tactile gunplay, runners with unique playstyles, and customizable builds create highly dynamic and
Devs still can't
strategic
hit a
team
headshot
fights.
to save their lives.
Whether you're on a zero-to-hero run or high-rolling with powerful gear, you'll need to use your best judgment when you decide which fights to pick and how. Because no matter how geared you are, players with skill and strategy will always have the edge. Marathon is designed to be played in crews, with contextual pings, shared objectives, and down but not out, to streamline playing with your friends. Death is not the end. And if you're the last one
Brother,
standing,
take cover!
you can overcome the odds to revive your teammates and get out with your hard-earned loot. And if you believe your skills alone are enough to conquer any challenge, we give you the
I think my biggest criticism gameplay-wise is I don't see like a character kit that like really speaks to me. I mean, I can just use whatever, don't get it twisted, but
with dynamic events,
I don't
variable
know.
weather, and unpredictable players, you'll have to adapt on the fly if you want to survive.
Ah!
Each run has a time limit, and anything can happen while you're chasing your objective.
Yeah.
Looking to unlock
Wait, do we have
upgrades
fall
that will
damage?
Increase your faction reputation. Slip into the shadows as Void and ghost past your enemies. Search the map for rare materials and profit opportunities without being discovered. Want to push enemy teams and steal their loot? Bring in Glitch. with
That
agility
room
and
clear was
fast.
fucking atrocious,
You'll
by
strike
the
with
way.
weapons
If we squad
to
and that's the
disrupt
path
private
you
crews.
take when we clear the room,
Running
just
to
know that
fulfill
I'm crashing
funds,
out.
Grab extra equipment, shield charges,
Nobody covered
and
the
a
right.
specialized backpack to be the lifeline they need.
Didn't cover the right, didn't cover the
You're
rear.
always free to experiment with team compositions.
Have no
And the
fear.
limit to how you want to
I'll
play
cover the
your role
rear.
is your loot and imagination. Endgame challenges, ranked play, discovering secrets, seasonal storytelling, community events, and more all await you in Season 1, where you and your friends will start to unravel the
just like
mysteries
last
of
time, as
Tau
soon as he started
74.
talking about season shit, my brain just turned off and I was like,
Remember,
disgusting. I
you're
hate
only
modern
ever one
gaming.
run
Yeah,
away
seasonal storytelling.
from the next big score.
Like, that suggests to me that they're probably gonna just like, the entire story is gonna be like Destiny seasons, and I feel like they're just gonna take that shit out, and that,
All right.
I hope that's not what it is.
Let's
But
get
I
into
think
breaking
that's
this
what it
down.
is.
So, I think for starters, again, as we touched on before the break, Bungie has such a rich history with Marathon. Joe Cross, from your standpoint, facilitating this gameplay with your art style. Again, what was it like, kind of approaching this from your perspective? What were you looking to do?
I was looking to make it look
bu-
nothing
build on a
like
legacy.
Marathon, see?
The narrative of Marathon is incredibly rich and like inspirational, easy sort of inspiration for art. I also love just sort of having the keys to this car from this era, working on a game from this era. I love older games. I love the way the games look from the PS1, PS2 era.
I'm not sure if you figured it out or not, but I think I've decided I don't like this fella.
So there was a lot for us, and like I said, paying homage to some of the great sort of iconic artists
Homage.
of the time. So
Yeah, and also we had some keen-eared folks in chat. I think Zoe Wolfinder asked if this is Ben Starr. Yep, Ben Starr was the narrator of that piece. Excellent ear.
Great voice, right?
Yeah, super cool. Yeah,
Wonderful voice.
he's almost an Andrew Witz, but
He's
he has
half
his best.
French.
But all right, I'm gonna put you on the spot with a tough one, Mr. Joe Ziegler. Who's your favorite runner?
Ooh, controversial question. I play a variety of
That's the most I worked at Riot Games ad lib I've ever heard in my life.
them, but I will say probably the one I end up playing the most is Blackbird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. Any Blackbird mains out there? I like playing Blackbird because it's a great crew.
Cacaw.
runner. Like it's in terms of being able to provide a lot of information, provide a lot of support. It's also a great runner that's kind of helps to counter a lot of strategies that can occur, especially ambush strategies that happen. Also to catch Void out of position if Void's trying to hide. So yeah, there's a lot of versatility to how you can play it.
Very fun, Mr. Witz. I think you and I share the same main. I got to ask as well. Who's your go-to runner?
I split my time between Locust. I'm a very push-forward kind of player, as Joe reminds me all the time. I'm pushing too much.
This fella looks like a Titan main.
It just goes.
I also love to go fast forward. That's right.
Yeah.
And so, like, yeah, that push forward gameplay that Locust kind of has, right? Being like the first to try and get a pick, you know, seeing somebody out of position, going for that pick. Also, I like to play glitch a lot too. Again, like, I really love that disruption playstyle. I love just finding an enemy crew trying to exfil, trying to extract, and then like taking like the arm cannon and just knocking them out of like the zone, and now they're trapped with me and hopefully my teammates. Joe.
I'm scanning. I'm looking for enemies. It's good, yeah.
To that same end, actually, as you guys kind of discuss the runners, Destas in chat asks, what's the pacing targets to the gameplay? Are there any movement or traversal mechanics?
There are a lot of movement and traversal mechanics inside of the game, but it varies. Your effectiveness varies per runner. Yeah.
Yeah, like everything in like we're making like a survival sandbox, which means everything kind of has to have a cost, right? And so like going, if you want to go fast, like if you want to go fast, like Locust has like a super sprint, so to speak. Like they have leg jets that kind of come on to help you sprint even faster. That causes heat. So basically, it's almost like a stamina system, but we call it heat because we're these awesome mercenary cyborgs, right? Where like the body overheats, and so this character has like some mobility, but you overheat quite a bit. So that's kind of the cost that's there, and so that's what pushes us into like finding implants that maybe like expand like how much like
We
your
have
heat
we have
meter,
we have
and also
metered
give you
sprint.
more,
I repeat.
agility, so you
We
can
have
go even
metered
faster,
sprint.
Right? So yeah, there's a lot of cost in the game in terms of when we place a mobility thing in there, we really want to make sure. It's like, how does this affect the pace, and how does this affect the overall survival sandbox?
And to be fair, we're still looking at the alpha builds. We got to balance a lot of stuff because some stuff is kind of sketchy. Yeah.
No, there's a lot to learn. That's why we're doing this, right?
Yeah, I mean, and actually, while we're talking about kind of those finer details, Wits, I'd love to still kind of bug you a little bit. In marathon build crafting is a big deal. What does that mean in the world that you guys are building?
Yeah, and so like the runners are essentially like a base, right? And so each runner has, they have a bunch of implants that you can kind of find that do kind of wild things, and like as they go up in rarity, right? There's a lot of stats, so you can increase your resistance to certain things. So like Tox is one, so you can essentially be poisoned, right, as our Tox, and so you can build up resistances to that. You can increase your.
Does it seem like a bit of an oversight to you that we designed an artificial light form that's still like susceptible to toxins? Bit of an oversight, no?
Agility, there's shields, obviously, to make you a bit more durable. We have cores. Cores are really cool. They basically give you like extra passives. And at the base rarity, like they have these kind of passives that you kind of play around. At the highest rarity, they are specific to the runner.
I hate modern gaming.
The runner you're playing. And what they do is they really augment your abilities wildly, right? So you can, you know, you're doing one thing and then you get like a chord specifically for glitch, and now you're like, oh, my double jump is a triple jump? Like, that's how much.
Not the bones of Yayo!
Really matters, and so builds,
they're back, just not in Destiny.
Are like completely the implants, the cores, weapons, weapon attachments. Weapons have like a pretty cool progression too. We have gold mods, which are kind of like the highest end of the attachment pool. They're essentially like exotics in our game, right? What is the exotic version of this Magnum that can do some wild stuff? So yeah, like really it's the entire package together is what the build crafting experience is in Marathon.
That element of it, I think I like. Like that sounds good.
Firex is how you pronounce it. How many players are going to be in each map?
Varies per map.
Yeah, it varies per map.
Got it.
The footage that people have seen a lot of, Dire Marsh.
I heard 18. What happened?
We support up to 18 players.
Excellent. Okay, all right. So going to be room for a lot of play styles. To that same end, I know we talked a little bit about Void earlier as well. Lars, can you walk us through maybe just your play style when you're approaching any of these runs?
Sure. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and sell out the best strategy.
I have to give away my secrets. So Void is really fun for me because it leans into this part of my personality that is like very devious. And so, you know, if you go on a run with me, I'll be like, hey, any claymores you see, let me know.
Somebody post the fucking May copy pasta.
I'm doing crazy things like, okay, so Void has a prime ability that sends out, I think you saw it in the video, it sends like a wall of smoke that sort of like your home base when you do that, it's portable. Because when you go in that, you become invisible. You get automatic active camo. So I'll do things.
You notice
like
that the
set
art
that up
director
to
is the least
make people
comfortable
believe I'm
looking
doing
person
one
up
thing
here.
and
I
then do
wonder if
another.
there's
So
a
a lot of
reason for that.
subversive things. I'll go in there and I'll claymore the inside, right? Someone comes in after me, they're gonna have a very bad time.
Claymores.
But I also do things like I'll go to a place
Man, we got
in the zone where
claymores in
there's
this game. It's
high-tier
already
loot, and I'll
over.
claymore it up, and then close all the doors.
I
and
hate
leave and be like, "Ooh,
claymores."
I wonder if anyone's gonna show up, and then sure enough, maybe 5 minutes later, I see the shield crack in the HUD, and I'm like, yes, I can go back and see what's going on. So yeah, that's how I like to play.
Titan man's
How
like,
about
I
you? How about
cracked
you,
your
Joe Cross?
shield. Huh.
What's your go-to?
Well, if you know me, I'd rather look good and lose. So I generally pick the.
This fella is really trying my patience.
The runner with the coolest helmet, and in this lineup, I think that's clearly Blackbird.
I'm gonna fucking crash
As far
out.
as my play style, I'm typically just a decoy. So that's it.
It's like, Joe, go. Go over there.
Yeah,
Go over
exactly.
there.
I am
Look
the
really
worst.
great. over
Yeah,
there.
exactly. Just stand in the open for
Yeah.
a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the end of my run story.
Fair. Well, we want to thank you all for your collective sacrifice. We appreciate it. So actually, to that same end, obviously we do a lot of play testing here internally. Wits, I know you mentioned you've got a folder of some of your best plays, but what are some of your most memorable runs so far?
Some of my memorable runs are really when I think I'm going to be doing one thing, right? Like, okay, I'm going to do a contract. I'm going to be going here. I got to go into this room. I got to interact with this device. And I think it's like I'm safe. Like I'm kind of doing like a routine thing. I can get in and get out if I'm like smart about it and really kind of listen for what's going on. Like there's no UESC around. There's no players around. And oftentimes there's another player. Like the best moments is there's another crew that are going for the exact same thing. And there's this moment of like you're about to turn the key to get into a locked room, and then the other team is right there, and you're like, oh crap, like, and then you're like, this is all out war in like a
Shit,
hallway
fuck.
that seems to be like a regular hallway, but now it's just like it just gets crazy. And so I think those are the peaks that happen where there's these tense moments where you're trying to do something that lead to these very quick crescendos where, these mercenaries kind of going crazy, and like all these players are jumping in.
You make it sound like you're playing so carefully, but you're not.
Listen, the tactics are happening fast. okay?
That's why they crept up on him.
Processing power is what it is.
Yeah, the math is going. Like it's happening.
See, a fella like me.
Right? It sounds like, runs can obviously
I'll check
entail a
my
lot,
six.
but we also have a question from Sharky218. Is loot going to be just weapons, or is there going to be more for people to go after while they're out there in Tau City?
There's a ton of
Armor
them. There's a
upgrades.
ton
You
of
already
them.
said
Yeah,
that.
there's implants, there's cores, there's
Implants?
equipment, there's
Grenades.
consumables. Yeah.
Talk about grenades.
Yeah, there's grenades.
Naders.
We have a bunch of different types of grenades in the game as well that you can loot in the world. We have valuables, we have backpacks, attachments, weapons, materials, keys.
And there's a bunch of stuff too.
The shit to get is what he's
we call
saying.
valuables, but like there's times when you're running low on money and you're like, I just need to do a valuables run right now, and I need to pick up these things and get my money, into my space bank. So.
Space Bank, yeah.
That actually is
Finance
a good segue
run.
from, and I'm not making this name up, Ball and Hobo.
Gotta run some
asked,
bricks real
what do I do
quick.
when
Hang
I
on.
extract? Like, why does it matter in the long run?
Yeah, there's a variety of reasons. So a lot of it was related to sort of our factions and contract system. But if you want to talk a little bit about that, Lars.
Yeah, we've got this entire system we call factions. You're doing contracts, they're like missions, and you are being greeted originally by AI representative because you are a mercenary. You don't really have allegiance to anyone. They are going to pay you to do these jobs, and so they'll give you these missions to do. And as you're doing these missions, like Andrew said, sometimes you'll run into danger. But the cool thing about, I think, a lot of the faction and the contract system is like you could complete download the agricultural survey from this one area on one of the zones, and you're doing the thing, and you've sort of done it. So even if you die, you've still made progress there, which I think is a really cool aspect of that feature. But then there's also this other meta layer where as you're working with the different factions, they allow you to upgrade yourself over time. And so you can increase your heat meter, you can increase your loot speed, things like that.
Okay.
I was gonna say, you're trying to get as much loot as possible to meet the challenge of the world, right? Like essentially, different missions get harder over time, right? Which means you want to have more loot on you so you can survive longer, so just in general,
No.
be able to do like,
I
fight
want to
all
learn
the
how to do those
different,
missions
hostile
with
entities
not
in the world,
shit.
like get through there's a
Pick up what I
POI
need
on a
on
zone
the way,
that's
so
heavily
that way I
fortified
don't
by
lose
UESC,
anything
and
valuable.
all of the
See,
different
a
units that are
fella
there, the
like
snipers,
me
the assault units,
ain't
like,
gonna be
you
caught
wanna be able
slipping,
to not
gambling
only withstand
everything.
that and
No,
players. So there's a lot of reasons
no.
why you wanna get loot
And honestly, like a lot
I'm
of the loot
saving that for
translates
when
into
I
things
wanna
like
ruin
upgrades
somebody's
that
day.
you utilize through the factions, but there's also an in-game store called the Black Market where you can use a lot of your currency and things like that to actually re-equip yourself if you go on a bad run, or to upgrade yourself if you need anything from that space. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons to get a lot of good loot out. I don't think I'm ever short of reasons to get loot out.
That just says something else about me, though. I'm just a loot goblin. So sometimes extraction shooters also.
Wait, is that not a
hive
hive worm? Is that a plushie of the little
What
caterpillars?
are some of the
It
things that you
might
guys
be.
are doing to make them easier to dive into?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things that we could talk about. One is we are obviously investing, besides doing a little bit more onboarding in the front end so players can understand a little bit about what the nature of the game mode is. We're also doing a lot to make combat something that's a little bit more approachable.
I see why this new HQ was so expensive. They've got fucking lightsabers embedded in the walls, dude. Shit is crazy.
But also just equally as deep and have pretty wide things. But I think Andrew could talk about it, yeah.
Yeah, we want to make, like, this is like a Bungie shooter, right? We want to make sure it's approachable. We like nail those fantasies. Every button press feels awesome, right? And so really trying to bring that kind of like morph the Bungie action game into like in the survival space where, again, everything kind of costs something, right? Getting shot, like, you're not going to have like a limb system where like, your limb's broken or anything, but you will, like, guns do stopping power, right? Which they can knock you out of sprint, they can slow you down, right? Status effects are still in the game. And so if you are hit with a chem grenade, right, you're gonna be toxed. You can be immobilized, right, which really slows you down. You can be overheated. There's all these things, and that pushes you into using consumables and making sure you have an answer for these things that happen. So we're trying to make sure that you keep the depth of the survival game, but the approachability of the action game, right? And so that's how we're trying to marry that together. And in addition to that, if you have some bad runs, right, like, and you don't have a lot of, you see your loot kind of going down, we have the sponsored kits, like it's kind of talking in the video earlier, where it's a package of gameplay items like weapons or equipment or maybe a shield or something or consumables. That's kind of like the floor for what we think you can be really, like, you can be capable in the environment and actually like fight other players that actually are kitted out. So you're never feeling like, the goal is that you can always clutch even if you find somebody who's completed kitted out in like really high-end gear, because that's your payday, right? That's like the beauty of the moment of like, oh my God, I took this player and oh, they have the best shield in the game. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Hurts. I mean, obviously, gonna be a lot of good pointers for folks at home taking notes for when they get a chance to get into the alpha. But we'd be remiss if we also didn't mention how a big part of what we do here at Bungie is working alongside our community, which is why we've also had the chance since about 2022 to work with hundreds of different creators in our community as well, to go ahead and get some of their feedback. So to those of you out there that have joined us, thank you very much for your time and your opinions. They mean a lot. But no need to listen to me talk about it. We actually just last week had a bunch of folks in here to go ahead and play test the very same alpha build that some of you will have a chance to join in on as well. So I vote I go ahead and let you tell them about it in their own words.
You kind of feel the blood pumping. Got him, got him, got him.
Okay, this looks much better when it's not at 30 FPS, whatever potato they were running that on. That shit. Yeah.
This is a new world. This is a different take on an extraction shooter.
My man Luke!
It's game changing. It is literally game
My man Scarrow.
This is such an exciting time for us. You are the first group outside of Bungie to play test our alpha build.
Wow.
Look daddy up. Let's go.
I don't know who that was. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I am readying up.
My goat.
You two are. Yes, sir. Oh, we are
My people,
some money
yeah.
this time.
My goat.
Oh, you looking around? See who's,
My fellow short king.
Alrighty.
Hidden Xperia, not
research
Scarrow.
is
I'm
right
pretty
next to
sure
the
Scarrow
game
tall.
set. Yeah. You just want to grab that real quick? Yeah, we can. You want to get going?
Yep, Medro.
That should be a good one.
Why are my fucking feet so far out in front of me?
Didn't actually. I've not been there yet.
Apex Legends looking ass.
There's so for the gang, there is fall damage, and it is severe if you
Severe fall damage. Alrighty, heard. Surely we can get enhanced ankles, right?
I may have just exploded.
I'm
my
finna
kneecap.
loot me some enhanced ankles.
It saves it.
Big ass strides, they do be hauling. Maybe I'm just bad at running.
AI on the right.
I got short legs, you know what I'm saying? I'm not very tall, so.
Yeah, more
It's
AI
just what
inside
them
the-
long-legged people be
little-
running like.
probably downtown over there.
Like an antelope or a gazelle. Is that the same thing? It might be. Ooh!
Sorry.
Double barrel.
You good?
Do we, so, are our magazines magical and the bullets go into a new one, or do we drop our magazine when we reload? Because I'm pretty sure Tarkov has realistic reloads, right? No magical bullets?
Oh my god, you didn't jump up.
Antelopes and gazelles, kind of different. What you mean?
Are we killing them or ignoring them?
AI with a snipe up above is looking at me.
There's some fucking deer. Fancy deer.
I need some bits ammo.
Bam.
Don't find any. There's a green punk right there.
What was that?
There's ticks underneath.
That's what that shit said?
I hit here, I think.
Player. Down one.
I hit one for it to kill him. 1, 2.
Ooh. Oh no, we've got shoulder charge.
That's all of them.
Finish it. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. Look at my man playing the angles, and we got the crouch option if we get packed on the left. Yeah.
Shredded right now.
It's so much. It's so nice seeing actual professional gamers play and not Bungie employees. No offense, Bungie employees.
Yep. That's a purple one.
Big healing. Oh shit. Oh shit.
Wait, the one that fire like 5 knees.
Wait, we have SMGs that hit at that range? Our bullets don't just magically fall out of the air at 30 meters? That's crazy.
Oh, one of the guys you killed had just been weapons on him. Poor guy.
Oh, mechanics hit. That's what we need, right? We're just having just mechanical static effects.
Man, that fucking mic quality hoeing my man Scarrow.
Yeah, I'm inside with him.
Realistic range shotguns? They
Looks good. Yeah. I'm unlocking the box.
shotguns that are actually shotguns?
Yeah, dropping in. Take
Cabal!
one, They've got long shots in 2. Oh,
I think the biggest problem with what I'm seeing is like it just echoes faintly of games that I don't like Apex and all the fucking other the Toys R Us shooters.
Where are they?
As far as visually, but everything about the gameplay, like
I got one knocked. I got one knocked.
like if I can disconnect the visuals from like what I think like the actual experience would be to play, it's kind of witty.
Annihilated, dude. Oh my god.
On me. I'm out of ammo.
Yeah, I would say it's a self
Oh, yeah, there's a sniper.
Freaking no! It's a Brian! Kill him. He's a fiend, dude.
I'm coming to you, son.
Yeah, I see him.
Don't underestimate this guy.
Oh my god, that You killed 2, I think it's 1v1. Ben, you knocked 1, I knocked another.
Good stuff, good stuff. I literally only have a sniper.
That's all you need, baby.
A unit is signaling for reinforcements.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
for
you guys,
sure. It's
the-
like if you like fuse Destiny and like
The knock
Apex
I had was
animations.
way over here. I don't see anybody over there yet.
He's been quiet for an
It
awful long
definitely
time, I
like
reckon
doesn't
he's
look
got
distinct in that way, and like again the fucking like Toys R Us art style doesn't
Yeah.
really help because
Tell
that
me
also
about- tell
kind
me
of
about-
makes it look like Overwatch and Marvel Rivals
Okay.
and
Yeah,
all
he's
those
just- he's
fucking
holding
like
an angle at a distance.
MOBA shooter hybrid shits. Like
Sniped,
I don't know. I
sniper.
feel like the art.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know how much you've been paying attention this whole time, but I don't like the art director.
weak up there?
Like, I don't like his decisions for the game. I don't like anything about what he said in the interviews. Everything about this, I don't like.
I'm underneath.
His whole
I'm
flow
underneath.
is fucking whack, man. Like,
Are they where we got down? Nice.
the art style is by far my least favorite thing
Knocked one.
about what I'm
Got
seeing.
got one left.
Like,
I hear shots on the right side, like you said.
I can get over
They're
the
close.
like Apex
Yeah, no tags.
animations. I can get over the.
You got eyes? Yeah, yeah, A1.
Yeah,
Was that him up there?
I don't even think the character designs would be as bad if
Is
it
he
was just
upstairs
like a
inside?
different palette.
That, yes, sorry, was. Yeah, hit him. Or is that Usek?
That's
No,
a
you
use
said
that
we're
guy right
shooting something in
there.
here. They were shooting something in here.
Friendly fire! Oh Jesus Christ! Why do we have fucking Yuzong Vong Hunter droids?
Group, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
That's not good.
God squad, you could say. I feel like we might be the God squad.
My short king.
That was good. That was a good run.
We got knifed some AI and grabbed some guns.
I don't know who this is.
We can go to.
I don't know who this is.
We got a loot container key. Isn't there one of those around here?
Yeah, it's right here.
Ominous red lights. I don't know who this is.
Where did I just hear that thought? I knifed one.
Oh my god, I'm dead.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Yeah. Something's sucking me.
Stop sucking him! It's a purple shield.
UESC reinforcement signal detected.
I found a purple enemy. I heavy knifed it 4 times and had to dump a full mag into it.
Really?
Yeah.
Must be his first day here.
Okay. Yay! I don't want the
Yeah, they-
conquest. LMG. I should take it, but I don't want it.
But here, take
Oh,
this.
long
Take
shot.
this.
I'm saved. What's the question marks again?
That,
That
is
are
a
on
good
the map?
Oh, I think those are the players, right?
Huh?
That's not good.
Like
This-
the cash players?
Yeah, I don't know.
Nani?
Players.
What are the question marks on the map? It means they're pulling up.
One is broken. I'll get a purple shield like not.
He really just hit him with the no mix up, huh?
Knocked one.
I knocked one.
Hostile action.
Glitch is moving. Glitch is moving. Behind. Yeah, Glitch is behind you at the moment. White shield. White shield.
Oh, she's scared. She's scared.
Down. Down.
Very good.
Very, very nice. I called a purple. Yeah, I want the frickin' purple. Here's a green on this one.
Purple shield. Who has that?
Me.
The big items, the big drops, the stuff that's like really high value, they're like, I have to get this out.
Doesn't matter if I'm playing Lucas or Void or Glitch. If I've got a better aim, I'm going to win. There's no other extraction shooter like that where I can have that kind of gameplay.
When people find out about some of the secrets and stuff, they are going to lose their mind.
Playing so far.
Strong Short King, yeah.
I'd like to say everything felt really locked in.
This being sort of the next full Bungie experience is an exciting moment.
The game is inherently.
Jeff!
I just want to play more.
All right, so obviously having those creators in was a whole lot of fun. Getting to work with both creators and players alike has been a privilege. It's been a great time getting to set that up. And of course, I promise I'm not saying this just because I work on the social media team here, but if you head over to our YouTube channel, we have a full 20-minute version of that. So youtube.com/MarathonTheGame is where to find us. Also same with all of our other socials as long as I'm at it.
Yeah.
But Lars, obviously again, like we talked about before that video, we're familiar with working with our community really closely, but have we ever done it this early or at this scale before?
So I've been at Bungie for a while now, since the Halo 3 days, and I think the thing, even
I
since
remember
my
the
time,
good
we've been really
times.
good about is working with players,
Where we
working with
cooked.
the community is something we
We
take pride in.
gas.
And on this game in particular, yeah, we brought people in, players in much earlier into the process than I think we ever have before, and it's given us really good insight. You know, we tell them when they show up, be brutally honest, because that's how we learn. That's how we understand what needs to change. What
Back
needs
when
to
we
get better.
heated tortillas on an open flame as God intended.
That's been a ton of fun. I mean, even again, like these folks were all here last week. You guys were in there with them. Some of you playing as well. What was it like?
Oh, it was super exciting. Yeah, I mean, like when you have a lot of there was a combination of players who we've been engaging with for a long time, and some players who were brand new, and it was great to see sort of like the mix of the both. Especially when you got to some higher level skilled players who just joined in and immediately got it and started destroying everybody, like Tens and Lupo was in there, and but yeah. Yeah, you had some pretty awesome moments, didn't you?
Yeah, so it was pretty amazing
Yeah,
to
I
jump
did
in,
do it to
and
him.
I'm gonna throw Nick
Let me
under
tell
the
you
bus for a
about
moment
it.
here. Like apparently he was on the team with Brian and Jeff Keighley, and they were not having success. Y'all were like destroying them,
Clearly
the
Nick was the
creators.
problem.
And, yeah, it's probably your team that was destroying them. So I was brought in as like a hired gun to help get Jeff through, and
Thank you.
I did my job.
Said I put that motherfucker in the backpack, yeah.
Mission accomplished, love it. Yeah.
Something that he's used to, obviously. Also, though, you were saying you were observing a little bit as well, maybe not playing quite as much. What was it like, from your perspective, getting to see all these folks jump in and play the game for the first time? Some of them.
I mean, it was awesome. It's awesome, like playing the game for so long, right, and seeing other people play the game is just a great feeling, right, for like the whole team. You get to see things that you designed for happen, and in real life, right? You see people who are like being hunted by other players that take refuge by like we're a heavily fortified area, and watching the UESC equalize a little bit. Moments like that was great. There was another fight that was like it looked
So does the fact
fun,
that we're
also
fighting the
hilarious, but also,
UASC
really,
imply
it was,
that
like, a
we
great
are in
time,
fact
but also
MIDA?
really tense was there was
Sensational?
there was two crews that were fighting under the dire marsh map. There's a bunch of tunnels and stuff like that, and they were fighting in the tunnels, and the fight was literally like almost one by ones, like 3 and 3, like constantly moving towards each other and fighting in the hallway. The person in the front dropping meds for people in the back and changing positions, and that fight went into like little vents as well. So it was like this it was this hilarious chase that was like it was super tense because you didn't know exactly whether you were going to get third party, and they were just the volume of the room kept on going up from those two crews because they were just like, where are they going to get flanked? There's another vent right there that could pop up from there. And they were shooting vents just like out
Definitely
of,
a
just pure
paranoia
paranoia.
inducer type of
awesome to
game.
watch.
It's a good balance. Of
I
strike,
did notice
obviously.
that.
And you again, we
Some of the
mentioned Chris, were there
gameplay,
any
the
other
panic.
creators you got to dive in with?
Oh yeah, I was on a team with Valkyrie and Katamina, and we had a lot of fun. There was like a couple moments where we bunkered down underneath a greenhouse in the tunnels underneath. Tunnels are dangerous and they were fun. But we basically created like a little claymore nest down there, so we were baiting them down into it. And yeah, it was pretty successful.
You reduce all your options to just outshoot
Don't sleep on
them.
claymores. They're
Pretty
good.
solid.
Yeah.
Lars is like, I
Oh.
know.
Yeah.
Treat.
So, you know,
Fill
in
that
addition to
motherfucker with
these
grenades.
creators, you know, the legacy of Marathon's community goes so long goes so far rather. You know, as someone who's played a lot of Aleph 1 in the past as well myself, back on my Titanium G4 PowerBook so long ago, bringing in the Aleph 1 team was really, really exciting. You guys got a chance to work with them as well, isn't that right?
Yeah, I mean,
How
I'm
did they
super
feel
excited to
about the
sort of
art
connect to
style?
heritage of Marathon, right? Like to keep that alive as we're sort of building this new world. And so working with the Aleph 1 team has been really awesome with the Marathon Classic on Steam. Is the release that they had, as well as the Marathon Classic 2, I think, is on Steam as well.
Yeah.
They're all on Steam, brother. What?
It's just been, it's like
all
sort of
three of
connecting
them
with friends, if that
things,
makes sense.
bruh.
Sort of remembering the past as we're sort of building this new.
They're all free.
Well, re-envisioning.
That's
in a lot
concerning.
Of ways of
The
what
game
Marathon
director doesn't
Actually,
know. Then all the.
Oh, we do have a question from
no.
Twitch chat. Are there dangerous
he hasn't played them.
that the UESCs are
Oh, Joe, I thought you was old. I thought, oh, maybe he's like an old gamer. He'd been gaming on this shit, so it don't matter. He come from Riot. Oh, no.
There's a bunch of different types that do different
No.
things. So watch out for them.
Never
we
even
also have
played
ticks,
it. It's
which
crazy.
are these wonderful, surprising, explodey fauna. Yeah,
friendly.
they run
wanna
at you.
hug you. Yeah.
They run at you, explode on you, and you have to
Hey,
shoot the nests actually to get rid of them essentially. Otherwise, they'll keep coming. And there's a bunch of hazards and stuff that are like gonna be on the map as well. Like we have a bunch of like tox rooms and all kinds of surprises that await players. And yeah, in the alpha there's a few, but
What's
we
the
got a lot.
scariest UESC unit to you?
The scariest unit, the Ghost Commander for me, for sure.
The who?
Ghost Commander. Their ability is like they go into active camo and they actually have clone. They have a bunch of like clones that go out there, so you think you're not sure which one to shoot, and then by the time you recognize which one is actually the real one, right?
Okay, that
it's
actually
like, it
sounds
might be over for you,
kind of
but,
diabolical. I'm not
that's
gonna
one.
lie.
The sniper also love the sniper as well. We really want to have these prolonged sniper
Sniper
fights really
jackals?
great, against the UESC, and if you manage to really push them and they notice you're pushing, they'll punish you for that too. So, like, yeah, definitely be careful of these units. Tread carefully.
Not to be trifled with, right?
And the recruits, honestly, the recruits, like, have this rush down that they do. If you're not too careful and knowing where they're going to be flanking you and rushing you down from, like, yeah, we're purposely making them these formidable
That sounds
foes
devious.
that
Yeah.
You can't get treasure out of the
I mean,
world
one thing
easily, and they're
Bungie
dark.
is very
They're
good
doing
at doing is designing base enemies. Bosses, not so much. Bungie boss fights,
Exactly. Also,
kind of
too,
buns.
we've got another
Not gonna lie
question
to
from,
you.
I believe Shepsky. Can a
With
team
the
be
exception of
composed
some like
any
raid
number
bosses
of
and
runner
shit.
types,
But
three
like Halo
weapons,
boss
for
fights, that's the worst thing about the
Absolutely,
series, and
There's
it's
no
not close.
restriction on how you assemble your crew. You can all
Except for
play
Infinite,
the same. You can
which
create
isn't a
meme
Bungie
comp
game.
if you want. Or you can diversify a little bit, you know, and sort of try to use each other's utilities. But
Hulk
we've
is
seen
still
them
your
all.
favorite
It's
boss.
been
The
really
kick
cool to
is
see
still
kind of the
funny.
different combinations we've seen. Yeah.
But you may never know, like those three different like players that are playing Blackbird, they may have very different builds and what they're gearing towards in Blackbird, right? Like they may be some of them, like one of them may actually have implants that allow them to go.
don't know who my
in
favorite
active
Destiny
camo.
boss
It's
is.
not a specific thing for a runner, so we're purposely trying to make it so that you can
Crota and
diversify.
Oryx were cool too.
I did see like the shield wall comp, which is like basically 3 locusts in the playtest.
I don't know what I like the best.
Let's go. Yeah. So you know, again, obviously, it's been so much fun to hear you guys
Crota and
talking
Oryx are
about this
cool. I feel
game
like
and
Crota, the
experiences you've
original,
had.
is like
You've
good
been
as
building
like a
world that's been
cinematic
ripe for players to tell
experience.
their own
It's kind of
stories
shit
in.
as a
You know,
raid.
again, with the closed alpha on the way. On
Crota
April
2
23rd,
is
as players finally get a chance, some of
pretty
them
good
to
raid,
jump
pretty
in.
good raid.
What are some of the stories you're most excited for them to get to dive in and maybe tell themselves?
An
So
Oryx
many. I mean,
mechanic
there's
is
so many different
timeless,
stories
but you
that
don't
I
really
think are
fight
gonna-
him,
that we're looking forward to
which
seeing
is like the
happen,
one
especially
reason
ones
I
that we
can't
we've
like.
never even seen
Like
before,
it's
but,
the most indirect fight
Getting onto the planet, like honestly, just trying to survive
in the game.
amongst all of the different threats that exist there. The dying, you know. When our
Like you
show
play a
says death,
game with him essentially.
you know, there's a lot of death in the game. The learning from it, the challenging yourself, the getting back up and trying to do something new. It's It's gonna be exciting. I'm sure there's plenty of other things.
I'm curious, Mr. Cross. What are you expecting?
I mean, I'm you know, had the fortune to launch Destiny and now Marathon.
You think if this is his favorite color that he wanted to put on everything in the series, he's a big Mountain Dew drinker?
And it's always amazing to put something out into the world that you've been working on, you know, sort of in a bubble for 6 years or something like that, and have the players experience the visual world for the first time is amazing. Introducing the IP into the world, you know, sort of beyond the game, you know, sort of the culture it creates. Always excited to see like what the fans tell us what the game is and what the metas are and what the IP is, and so that exchange is always amazing.
What is blood waffling about?
Wits, how about you? Anything come to mind on your side?
I'm just really excited for folks.
Man is a fucking waffler. Oh my God,
we've been making this
bro.
meal for a bit.
He says so much shit without saying anything. I'm sick.
For a bit. We've been working together on all the activities and everything.
Oh
in
man,
the
it's
world,
just
right? It's
saying
really exciting to see
words, bro.
People react to it organically and learn from it.
Just mashing on words.
Which runner will be the crowd favorite?
Fluent in Japanese. How do you talk so much
I know you
and
have
say
many theories.
so little? Yeah.
Well,
God
chat,
damn.
Discord, let us know. We'd love to hear what you guys are thinking.
Absolutely.
But
Oh,
that
this fella is
brings us to
trying my
just about the
patience.
conclusion of what's been a very action-packed show. So for starters, guys, thanks so much for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and thank you everybody out there. Like our team is literally sitting behind these cameras here, and they're amazing. Like, you know, you should give yourselves a hand, you know, for putting together. Also, there's an immense amount of staff here that has been super gracious and kind to come and help work with us on this. So just want to make sure all of you, let's give you a hand too. You know.
Oh, my man gotta take a shit bad.
That's right. So again, as we noted at the top of the show, coming up at the very, very end, we've got a very special surprise. So go ahead and do yourself a favor and stick around all the way through.
A surprise?
But again, a huge thanks, Joe Ziegler, Joe Cross, Andrew Witz, and Lars Bakken. Thank you all for being here today.
I like the cat sticker a lot.
And of course, again, to echo Ziegler, thank you so much to the entire dev team here at Bungie. Thank you so much for being here today. Whether you're here with us in person or you're at home, it's your contributions that make Marathon possible. So truly, thank you. It's honestly humbling to be here today. And again, of course, the crew here, thank you all so much for all of your hard work. It's been incredible seeing this stage come up so quickly, rather. So thank you so much. It's been a gargantuan effort, and it's all thanks to your efforts.
Gargantuan?
Most importantly, again, to all of you fine folks out there for joining us today. It's such a privilege for us to get the opportunity to share what we've been working on, and it matters most when you show up and join us. We know you have busy days, and we're thankful to be a part of it. So thank you for joining us here on this Saturday morning.
Well, just know that
we got something fun at the end. Make sure you stick around for a little bit longer. We're going to be
not
rating
rock hard,
Scarrow
but like
and
half
Mr.
chub.
Waffles, Milo out there.
It could be a
here
good
just
game.
after the show ends. So go ahead and
I
tell
hate
them
half
hello
of
when
it.
you get a chance to drop into their chat. But as has become kind of a tradition
the other
here at
part-
Bungie with our streams, we've saved just one more special thing here for you at the end. Now,
Mildly
we've told you a lot about the game
arousing.
so far, but we haven't had a chance to really touch on the narrative just yet, and we're really excited to
Narrative?
tell a story that's innovative in the extraction shooter space, both in and out of the game, and we'd love to show you. a
And the
glimpse of
story
that now.
will be being
So we've had the
removed
opportunity
once
to
every
partner
season.
with Academy and Emmy Award-winning director
Yeah.
Alberto Mielgo to go ahead and show you just a bit of a snapshot of what life is like on Tau Ceti. So
Okay.
we hope you enjoy.
Wait, did I see
but
this
in
already?
the
This might have been
meantime,
one of the things I
take care of
watched already.
yourselves, Take care of each other.
If
and we'll
not-
see y'all Star Side.
Tight. And see yo. Star side. Isn't that Bife's thing? Or did Bife take that from Destoni? He might have. Oh. I might have watched this already. This might be the trailer where she yapping. Ominous hole. Yeah, I think this is the yapping trailer for Quirky Lady. And weird fucking loose space suits. Bro, like what? The colors just don't make sense! Can the fucking 4 not see bright colors? I don't get it. And what is this, bro? Why we got the May drip, the May hoodie fucking space suits? Now this shit right here, see that right there? Yeah, ominous fucking space sickness. Now that right there, that's the half chub. This right here, that shit gets me kind of stiff. You know what I'm saying? Ominous red hooded figure floating down the hallway. He's a Sith Lord. Look at him. Yeah. Deadzo. Packed up, I think. Except not packed up, because apparently that's just what has to happen to you to be made into a... Ow. Yeah. Alright, I've already been through her quirkiness, so y'all can experience this while I go take a piss. I'll be right back.
I met a traveler from an antique land whose
Oh yeah, and blood is waffling.
two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that it sculpt to well those passions red which yet survive. Stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them, lifeless thing that mocked them. And the heart that fed, and the heart that fed.
Welcome once again. Once again. How's the new shell? How's the new shell feeling?
I mean, it feels just like what it is, right? Like $1 trillion. Like $1 trillion.
Sakaguchi Genetics sent a reminder. Your shell repayment is coming up and will be charged against your line of credit.
Yeah, I know. Mind if we skip the formalities this time? Got a big contract waiting down there, so.
Understood. Let's proceed with your grounding exercise. Are you familiar with this item?
That's my lucky charm. Yeah. It's supposed to be my lucky charm.
Can you identify her?
Yeah, that's my mom. That's your mom.
Now,
You know that's
consider
your mom.
this. Do you recognize this child?
Who are you? I don't know.
It's you.
Really?
Hey, what's that you're always tuned into? Worth anything?
I don't know, but I like it. It speaks to me.
Let me listen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you ever wonder what happened to these people?
It's not my business.
And this music is? You'll have a tough time finding a buyer.
Good. It's not for sale. Give it to me.
We're back. Kinda half-mast, yeah. Like, I feel like if this game just had an appropriate art style, I would be so much more excited for it. Damn. Packed.
And on the pedestal, these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remain. Nothing beside remain. Round the decay of that colossal wreck. Round the decay of that boundless and bare. Boundless. The lone and level sands stretch far away.
That fucking walk up was mad funny. You know what it was? It's the fucking, what's his name? The fucking WWE commissioner meme walk. The sack of shit. That's what that was. Look at that.
Do you recognize this child?
I don't know. Is that me?
Yeah. It's the Vince walk. I was like, what is that shit? Why does it look familiar? Oh. All right. Oh yeah. All right. So I'm like mildly interested in the game. My biggest gripe is the art style, man. Why'd they have to make it look like this? Like, it could be so enticing to me, and it's just not. Nah, it's not as ugly as Conquered. But, like, they definitely did take some... I don't know. Like, it's not that ugly, but it definitely could have been. You don't mind the art? It's just not what I want out of this universe. $40 for 6 characters and 3 maps. I mean, in this economy, that's pretty good. In my opinion. Does have dedicated servers. The fuck is this in my recommended, bro? What is going on? Also, I guess we should watch that Elena trailer. For, you know, this game Street Fighter that I'm definitely going to keep playing. Oh, they got a, wait. They got a tiger. El Tigre. All right. Let's get this Elena trailer, and then we'll figure out what we gaming on. Oh, let me change to just chatting. Now that we're done with Marathon, I think. I guess I could watch some of the videos from the people who played it, because they can talk about it now. Most of it seems to be pretty negative. So I guess I kind of want to see their gripes with it, but we'll see. All right. Theme already better than everything else in Street Fighter 6. Mullet head ass. Alright, I forgot she does this funny shit. Brother, what kind of bullshit is, what kind of Lion King ass bullshit is this? Fuck hippos. Oh, that's it. I mean, she do be looking kind of thick though, but I don't know. I got all right. That's cool. Do I have any elaboration? I don't think so. Game sucks. Coin flip simulator featuring like spacing anti-air mini game. All right, I'm seeing a bunch of marathon videos. Should I see what people think? I'm gonna see what my man Luke thinks while I take a dab, and then we'll figure out what game we playing.
So, Bungie have finally revealed Marathon to the world, their first new IP since Destiny in 2014.
New IP.
I've been playing Marathon for almost 2 years now. Since July of 2023, I have been dying to talk about this game.
My god.
Now I finally
I'm
get to lift
sick.
the veil. I have a ton of exclusive details to share, alongside a load of my own gameplay that I captured at Bungie as well. Over the next few days, I'm going to have a ton of exclusive content releasing here on the channel, including a full story and lore breakdown, and also an interview with one of the lead writers on Marathon over at Bungie. So make sure you subbed for those, but today we're starting with the most pressing of those videos.
Oh, bro.
Today, I am very excited to finally share my brutally honest thoughts on Marathon 2025.
That's a concerning title,
but
yeah?
first, what actually is this game? Marathon is a PvPvE extraction shooter, but with a heavy emphasis on storytelling. It's not a reboot, it is 100% canon to the events of the original Marathon, and takes place 99 years after the events of the first game.
Okay.
In fact, it connects to the original Marathon and its characters way more than I ever thought it would do.
Huh.
But more details
Durandal!
on the story video. So first,
Escape
just
will
some
make me
important
God. Yeah,
disclosure.
that was Durandal.
I've been playtesting Marathon since July
He
of
escaped.
2023. Bungie have paid for me to visit the studio 3 times, and they've also paid to use my likeness in marketing and Vidocs. However, they have not paid for any content.
I should have
so all my
tried harder,
opinions in
man.
This video and any subsequent video will be entirely unpaid, unbiased, and raw. And if you want a testament to my honesty, then, well, I released this video after visiting Bungie for the first time, fully assuming that releasing it would completely burn my bridge with the studio and mean that I'd lose out on thousands of dollars and any exclusive content for Marathon. But it didn't. And that is a testament to just how open and honest Bungie have been with us. In every single feedback session, they've willed us to be as brutally open and honest as possible. And so, on that note, let's start off with the first good thing, which is the evolution of this game. So, when I first played Marathon in 2023, to put it lightly, this game was not good. But instead of just turning all this criticism and pretending like it doesn't exist, Bungie actually took it on board and acted on it, and then when I came back and played the game again, it was infinitely better based on all of the feedback that we had provided. This is the most receptive and transparent that I've ever seen a studio be with feedback from early playtests, and it really shows.
That's
now,
good.
There's a myth that I've been waiting for 2 years to quell that you see all over the internet nowadays, and you see it parroted by people.
Not a hero
thousands of
shooter.
likes, and that's that nobody who worked on Halo at Bungie still works at the studio and is working on Marathon.
Wait, my
At the
man
time,
Jason
I
Jones.
thought that to be true. But I can confirm that that is absolutely not the case whatsoever.
All right, I'm
There
a
are
little
developers
stiffer.
working on Marathon who were instrumental in the design of Halo as far back as Combat Evolved, and some who have been at Bungie for even longer than that. In fact, many of the things that
You mean to
Halo
tell me
fans
they got
still
Lord
fawn
Jason
over
Jones out of the
nowadays, myself
tower?
very much included, were
Shit.
made by developers who are now in senior roles on Marathon. Don't believe me? Well, here are just a few examples. Dan Miller, the designer of Halo 3's Warthog Run, New Alexandria, and Guardian Forest,
Oh my
among
God.
many other levels, is a level designer on Marathon. Steve Cotton, the designer of
Okay.
Zanzibar, Midship, and the creator of Forge World, is one of the project leads.
Bangers.
Shikai Wang, the legendary concept artist who's designed Halo's aesthetic since literally Halo 1, is working on Marathon.
Okay,
John
well,
Goff, the
hopefully
writer of
we see that
Headhunters,
at
is
some
in
point.
charge of world building. Chris Butcher, Lars Bakken, and many others that I either can't remember right now or I'm yet to meet are also working on the project.
Oh.
Of course, the team on Marathon is huge and is full of many people who, of course, didn't work on Halo. But this myth that nobody who worked on Halo is working on Marathon
So what
is
you're
just a
saying is
complete
there's
and
hope.
utter lie. And in fact, it's the opposite of the truth. Many people who are instrumental in designing Halo are in extremely senior roles on Marathon.
So we still
And in
use
fact, many of the
dollars
people who
in the
didn't work
future,
on
huh?
Halo are also massive Halo fans as well. I spoke to so many
Is that a
developers who
centaur with a
were
golf
Halo
club on his
tattoos
shirt?
Or were massive fans of the
Or is it a
games and
horse
could
with something
recite
coming out of the
moments
back
from,
of its
my
head?
videos and stuff like that, dude. Like, so the connections to Halo on the development side are absolutely still there. They're also there in the game as well, but we'll get to that later. But the big question is,
the polo
did
logo?
I like Marathon, or do I like Marathon? And,
Is it
well,
a
the
centaur with a
answer
golf
is
club or a horse
definitely
with something
a
coming out of the
yes.
back of its
The
head?
game is not perfect, and it has problems that I'm going to discuss later on, but I want to start by talking about the things that I like about this game. And let's start out with the most important thing, the gameplay, and there is a lot that I like about the gameplay.
Okay.
First off, you play as runners, cybernetic
Someone on a
bodies that are
horse?
controlled by your digitized mind. These runners have distinct aesthetics and a small set
centaur
of
with a golf
passive and
club.
active abilities that influence gameplay but don't dominate it. This is not a hero shooter like TF2 or Overwatch.
Oh,
Your
thank
weapons,
God,
grenades,
'cause
and
that
other
shit
sandbox-based
is
items are
ass.
selected entirely independently of your runner and are without a shadow of a doubt the most important element of combat.
Okay.
You find the sandbox items very much in a Halo kind of fashion by exploring the various levels.
Yeah?
You can find them in the
Tell me about
environment
it.
by killing AIs and bosses, by killing other players.
That is very
by
Halo-like.
solving puzzles, and then also
If you think
by
about it,
buying
Halo
them
is just a
off the black
linear
market out of
extraction
the
shooter.
menus. And then in the exact same manner, you can also find
Where you can
backpacks,
only hold 2
shields,
guns.
and weapon attachments alongside character upgrades in the form of implants and cores that buff and alter almost every aspect of gameplay. And of course,
Foregone is a crazy name.
you lose all of that gear and you have to go find it or buy it again. And I gotta say, the way that all these systems come together is really unlike any game that I've ever played. There's a heavy emphasis on build crafting, but also a heavy emphasis on
Foregone?
scavenging and actually earning the tools that you use to craft your build. You aren't just given them. So, talking about the weapons, the sandbox in this game feels very quintessential.
Insane
it feels like
name.
a hybrid of a Halo sandbox and a Destiny sandbox.
Yeah.
On the whole, the foundations of the weapons feel similar to Destiny, but there are so many quirks that are heavily and intentionally inspired by Halo.
Oh.
For example, there's an SMG with a tracking mode similar to the Needler. There's a pistol with an alt-fire charge-up mode like the plasma pistol, and there's even a heavy pistol that's literally called the Magnum MC. But of course, first and foremost, this is a marathon game, and I'm very, very happy to announce that the absolute greatest weapon from Marathon makes its return. The iconic Waste M5 lever-action shotgun is back.
Oh wait, dude, I forgot that shit is in Destiny.
I sadly don't have much footage of this thing. I can
The
confirm
Wastelander?
that it is
Man.
insanely satisfying. There's just something about a lever action. There's also another weapon that's inspired by the Zeus.
Tex
and I was
Mechanica
also
canon
teased
to
that the
Marathon as
Spanker
well.
might return as well. And before anybody asks, yes, the Spanker began in Marathon, not Halo. But the weapons on their own are only the beginning. Weapons can, of course, be modified with various different kinds of mods that come in all different rarities. And if you find a gold maximum rarity mod,
Oh,
then it
nimble
basically converts
fingers.
the gun into an entirely different gun. And the example that I was given for this was pretty cool. So if you find one of the gold attachments for the Magnum MC, it gives it a bigger magazine and a
Nuclearic.
longer range scope, essentially turning it into a pocket sniper.
Word.
Now, an extremely powerful pocket sniper Magnum. Where have I heard of that
I don't
before?
know. Nah, I've never heard of it.
Oh my god! Run for your life! He's got the Halo 1 pistol!
Yes, that was very much
I hate the Halo
intentional,
1
and
pistol,
funnily
by
enough,
the
it was
way.
actually an ex-Halo developer who
That shit
told me that,
never
so
fucking hits
can
where you
believe
point
that
it.
it's true.
That shit
This
is
of course, just one
propaganda.
example, but the sandbox in Marathon is heavily varied and heavily modular.
Killing
and
my
on the
man
topic
Garrish
of
Goblin
Halo references
speed
in
runs
Marathon,
every
I was
time.
also teased
With the
that Halo
shitty hit
references in this
detection.
game run far deeper than just a combat evolved Magnum feeling weapon. Which makes sense given, obviously, the litany of connections between Marathon and Halo, but despite them being owned by different IP holders, the references are still there in abundance, apparently. So
Yeah.
let's bring it back
Oh,
to
there's
the
Halo
weapons.
references
They
in
all have
Destony.
abilities that come in passive, offensive, and
But Luke don't know
defensive
that because he don't
formats.
like the Stony,
Now, from a
which is
gameplay
understandable.
perspective, Void is my favorite runner because
Game
his
sucks.
entire kit revolves around active camouflage and deception, and his design was also heavily inspired by Snake from Metal Gear Solid 2, which is right up my alley. But I gotta say,
Snake
from an
X
art
Crow.
perspective, Locus is my favorite because of his clear design inspiration from the security officer in OG
Oh,
Marathon.
that's
His
true.
kit is far more offensive, but man, just looking at that security visor, whew, I'll never get tired of it.
I forgot that's
I'm not
also
gonna
the
dwell on
ugliest
abilities
helmet in
too
Halo
long,
3.
But all I will say is that, like I said at the start, they don't dominate the gameplay, they merely influence it.
That's
Although
good.
I will say that regarding the way that team combats work in this game with different runners coming together, there is one fairly major issue that I have with it, but
Oh,
I'm going
dear.
to discuss that later on. in
Not the
negatives.
meta!
So I guess to tie up these sections so far, one of the big questions that people are going to be asking is, does Marathon have that indistinguishable Bungie feel?
Oh.
Now, I'm going to preface this by saying that that feel is very subjective and very ambiguous. It's almost impossible to accurately describe it. But regardless, I think for me at least, it did have that feel.
Oh.
But that's up to you to decide when you eventually play the game. I will say the pacing of this game feels more akin to classic Halo than it does to like modern ADD movement shooter games. This is by
Yeah,
no means a
it does
movement
look
shooter,
like
which I'm very
you
happy
can have
about.
like
It's far
strafe
more
gunfights.
setup-based and slower and more methodical like classic Halo was, which
Yeah.
is actually what I was really hoping it'd be.
That
Now
is
then,
good.
Let's talk about level design, and trust me, I have a lot of good to say about this game's level design. Right now, I can
Kinda
only
hard
show
to
gameplay of one
differentiate
map,
the
and that's what you've
two
been seeing for
world
this entire
settings if
video.
guns are
That
gonna
map is
feel the
called
same, I don't
Diamond,
know.
but I've actually played 3 maps. Another
Well, you're
one
not
is
supposed to
called Perimeter,
differentiate them. They're all the same
and,
game.
The other one is redacted for now, but just
That's
know
why.
that third map is
See,
designed
they're all
by
in the
an
Bungie
absolute
multiverse.
Halo legend.
They're not in the
and it
same
really
universe,
shows.
but they
I
are in
think
the
that
same
will end up
multiverse.
being
You
the
understand?
Absolute fan favorite map, and I think it might end up partly revolutionizing this genre.
A what?
So, to put it lightly, I think that the map design and level design in this game is absolutely stellar for a litany of reasons.
Oh.
Firstly, it's unique. None of the maps feel the same, nor do they really feel like maps from any other game.
Okay.
I guess that's partly down to this game being an extraction shooter, which is very untouched ground, broadly speaking, but even still, the maps feel unique. Secondly, it is deeply intricate.
Oh.
There are so many secret passageways,
Oh.
and vents, and underground pathways, and
Ooh.
locked key rooms, and rooms that require Easter eggs to get into that
Ooh.
just give each map so much replayability. Thirdly, it's realistic. One of the developers described it as grounded, but the level of intricacy that the maps have in their design makes them feel like real locations over rooms that were just designed by a level designer for players to fight in.
Yeah.
The Easter eggs feed heavily into this, but more on those in a second.
Okay.
And fourthly, all the maps that I've played so far flow really nicely. And if you've ever played an extraction shooter before, then you know how
Not the
important
bagging, yeah!
If I had to compare Diamond to any other map in terms of flow, I'd say Customers from Tarkov, which is arguably that game's greatest map. But the standout element of Marathon's map design are the Easter eggs. And no, I'm not talking funny little meaningless references hidden on the wall somewhere.
we talking.
I'm talking functional, connected Easter eggs, Easter egg quests, and even mini raids. The way that these eggs are designed is genuinely amazing. They take you across
Nut. Raids confirmed. Yeah, yeah, I'm pulling up behind your squad and stealing all your shit.
First, don't even look like
Yeah.
they even play into boss encounters as well. But my favorite aspect of them is the way that they're baked into the world. It is frankly superb. If you were looking for a point of comparison, well, it really reminds me of the way that Zombies used to do its Easter eggs in World at War through Black Ops 3. The Easter eggs and the Easter egg kind of steps and elements
okay, that's
are
actually
built
great.
into the environment, and at first they kind of just look like a natural part of the world. They aren't covered in HUD goo or loads of UI elements that are directing you towards them, nor are sequential steps in an Easter egg quest outright told to you. You have to look for them yourself using logic and deduction.
Okay.
A really cool example of this in action are these gassy rooms. So at first the doors are locked.
Not the
and you can see the
gassy
is full of
room.
loot. So you have to find a terminal nearby to open the doors. Then, once the terminal is activated, you then have to wait a minute for the gas in the room to dissipate. And once it's gone, you can go in and loot. But if you stay for too long, an AI voice will warn you to leave, and the doors will begin to close, the gas will return, and the terminal outside will break. So if you overstay your welcome, you just get stuck inside and you'll die. The design of
Marvelous.
these Easter eggs plays into how realistic and grounded the map design feels, because you don't feel like you're interacting with a button that was placed there by a level designer for you to find, but you feel like you're actually discovering something in a real environment and trying to figure out what it means.
Okay, that is
yourself,
good.
Which is just like
This
Zombies Easter
this
eggs,
sounds
and
promising.
Also, I guess just like Destiny reads as well. The maps also have dynamic weather as well, and the dynamic weather actually influences gameplay. Like,
Oh.
For example, you can get struck by lightning and lose
Huh?
shields, or when it's raining, your stamina, which in this game is your
Drop
sleep,
everything metal.
and overheating, it overheats slower
Breath of the
in
Wild
rain,
players
so it
rise
cools
up.
down. Little intricate design choices like that just make Tau City 4 feel like a real environment as opposed to a video game map. And speaking of Zombies Easter
This
eggs and
sounds
Destiny
promising.
raids, it wasn't in this build, so I've got no footage of it, but in one of the builds that I played, there was a boss on Diamarsh that was behind a locked room, and to get into that locked room, you had to go through a bunch of puzzles and lethal hazards first. But the charm of it was that while you were solving these logic puzzles and trying to avoid these traps, other teams and other players could come into the room as well and either fight you and kill you whilst the traps were there, or help you along and get into the boss fight room with you by forming an alliance.
Oh,
When I
I'll help
spoke
you
about
for a
Marathon
bit.
In October last year, I teased a feature that was like a blend of two of my favorite features in gaming.
Yeah,
and,
I'll be
well,
real
this
helpful.
was it. It's a blend of zombies
Hey,
Easter
you guys
eggs
need a
and
4?
Tarkov-style bosses put together, and I
Yeah,
cannot
man.
wait to see
I
all
got
the
your
hilarity
6.
that's going to ensue from this. That being said, though, the Easter egg design in this game goes far, far, far deeper than this.
Oh?
In fact, the logic puzzles and traps that you have to get past to reach that boss on Diamarsh genuinely aren't even the tip of the iceberg. There's something that I'm dying to talk about, but I can't yet. That is one of the greatest examples of... In fact, we'll leave it there. I'm gonna
Bruh, nah! Bruh.
And speaking
Bruh.
of bosses, let's talk about the AI that spawn on the map for you to kill. So across
Listen.
the map are a number of UESC security drones that are the standard form of AI to fight. and they all come with
I'm
their
not
own
gonna lie to
variants
you.
and difficulty levels.
My dick is
Most of them spawn
rising.
naturally and are relatively easy to fight, but you can begin events across the map that spawn an increasingly harder variant of some of them that come, of course, with the possibility of much better loot. And it's quite funny because at one point in development, the sniper UESCs were so powerful that the devs were literally just calling them Jackal snipers. They don't like that anymore, but when I got into a feedback session and one of the devs were like, "Oh yeah, the Jackal snipers are pretty OP," I was like, nice.
Yeah, we should
Then
not do
there's
that
another
again.
kind of enemy called the ticks, which are these little
who?
bugs that run up to you and explode.
Ticks?
To remove them, you have to destroy their hive. And these things are literally the lookers from Marathon 1, except they're called tits now, which were in Marathon Infinity. Not sure why they swapped the names over, but these return from Marathon 1. And
Interesting.
then there are the compilers.
Marvelous.
But I can't really talk about the compilers yet. Just know that the Spit compilers are there. They're in the game. I'm going to leave it there. So, one of the most important things when it comes to a game's longevity is a progression system. Of
I'm
course,
stiffening.
Halo fans have had an absolute nightmare with that in recent years, and conversely, progression systems are actually one of the things that extraction shooters typically do really, really well. Now, I haven't played enough of Marathon yet to reach any kind of endgame or to experience the full progression, but I will say from what I have experienced so far, I'm pretty optimistic. The progression feels very similar to Tarkov in terms of how it actually works. So you get quests from factions, but more on those in a minute, that you have to go out into the
Starting
world
to leak,
complete
yeah.
in a load of different ways. You then extract and hand the quest back into the factions
little
for a
bit.
whole load of different rewards. And then, the more quests that you do for a faction, the more you level that faction up, and that plays into the upgrade system.
Hang on.
So Marathon actually has an RPG skill tree-like upgrade
Completely
system. And in
unfamiliar
fact,
with
each faction in
Marathon,
the
so this
game
is
has
sick.
their
I-
own skill tree that you
I'm
can progress
ki-
through
I'm-
by leveling up, completing quests, and purchasing upgrades
I
by
might-
using
I might
credits,
buy this
and also
game.
a ton of
It is crossplay, by the way.
items and materials that you find in the world through scavenging. These upgrades buff certain stats and also unlock items for purchase from the black market. And what you can unlock for purchase in the black market depends on the faction that you're leveling up. Like, for example, if you want to unlock more weapons to buy, then you level up Mida. These factions also play a major role in the story as well.
Level up the
After all, they're
terrorist
the reason
organization,
you are
you
on Tau
say?
Ceti. And the way that they handle the story is like a billion times better than Tarkov, and I think people are quite gonna like it. You interact with the factions via their AI representatives, each entirely unique voiced entities with insanely cool looking aesthetics who deliver you quests with tons of flavor text to further the story. The main way that the story is delivered in Marathon,
Okay.
at least at launch, is through the quests that you carry out and complete in-game that interact with certain elements of the map and
This is very promising because I don't know if you've ever noticed this. One of the things that I really hate about storytelling in most modern games is like they don't like leave anything for you to figure. They just ham-fist it to you. Like they'll literally have like a character to dictate to you like what's happening and what that means because they think that you, the audience, are too fucking stupid to understand. And to be fair, most people are, but like not insulting people by like providing the story in an organic way that lets you immerse yourself in the universe and like actually like figure that shit out as you would have to if you were living it is so much better, bro. Like that's what we fucking need from this shit.
also each faction. And some of the factions are going to seem quite familiar as well. There's
Oni!
Cyber Acme, who were the creators of the terminals in OG Marathon. New Caloric, which is a new faction who created much of the nutrients and sustenance for the colony. Traxxas, an industrial corporation who at one point in OG Marathon had an AI faction who created much of the nutrients
Tastes like meat, is crazy.
and sustenance for the colony. Traxxas, an industrial corporation who at one point in OG Marathon had an AI on Mars who went severely rampant, and yes, Traxxas in Halo is inspired by Traxxas in Marathon. In fact, the two are
The Bungo
literally
multiverse.
identical now. Mida, an ex-political party on Mars who later became a terrorist organization in response to the UEG's continued overreach, so they are literally the insurrection from Halo.
That is true.
Arachne, who we know nothing about, and Sekiguchi Genetics, who are the company who create the runners that we play as, along with many other AI and cloning technologies as well. And speaking of story, I found something in the menus that I am insanely excited about. The Terminal. Now, sadly, I have no footage of it because it wasn't in this build, but it was an extremely in-depth and fully interactable version of an OG Marathon terminal that was full of data and lore and tons of other stuff. I think this is going to end up being something like a codex. I did ask quite a few times if there were going to be some like OG Marathon terminals in-game, in maps for you to find in a raid, and the answer that I always got, and I asked this numerous times, I got the same answer every time, and it was like, well, how would you feel about finding the terminals in-game, but actually reading them out of game? So I think the idea is that you find the terminal contents in-game, and then you read them out of game so you're not obstructed. Either way, I cannot wait for people to see
Destiny.
Because if you're a fan of original Marathon, this terminal is literally like any of the terminals that you find in Marathon, except now you can fully interact with it, dive through its directories. It's awesome. The UI team just killed it on that. Now, the last good thing I want to talk about is the art style. However, I am rather mixed on it. On the good side, I genuinely think that Marathon has quite possibly the most unique art style I've ever seen in a game, at least for a long time. And the way that it translates to gameplay is...
If you're wondering what I was... Yeah. He was like...
There are quite a few characters in Marathon lore
on the
that
movement
I'm really excited to see in this aesthetic. Now, for a while, I actually wasn't really a fan of this art style in game.
I'm still
criticized it
not.
quite a lot when I was there.
I think it's
but the last time that I played Marathon, the lighting had finally been baked in, and honestly, it fixed most of my complaints about the art style. There are some really cool looking areas in this game with like really low, subtle, ominous lighting that we fought in that were really, really cool.
Okay.
It's partly down to the aesthetic, but also partly down to how good the lighting is in this game.
Okay. Bungie lighting is fucking magical, and the Marathon stuff that we've seen so far has been very harsh and not Bungie looking. So if they actually do end up doing work with the lighting engine, they could definitely make this look a lot better.
Unique, and
because Halo 3 still looks Foregone. This is an insane name. Gotta be stopped.
There that looks even close to Marathon right now. The only exception maybe being Mirror's Edge. Tau City 4 does look really, really good, and I think for the most part...
It does look like Mirror's Edge, oh no.
But to move into the stuff that I'm not keen on now, I will say I wish that the game looked more like OG Marathon.
I agree.
OG Marathon had so much grit and roughness to it, whereas Marathon 2025 is quite the opposite. It's very, very clean. And I get that that's the point.
Freshly waxed.
We're on Tau Ceti, not on the Marathon. But Marathon 2 had grit when you were on Le1, so I don't think that's really...
Le1?
I do think that this is something that could definitely come back down the line with new maps and new areas. And also, if there's a lot of post-launch feedback, I can see them doing something with a more like OG Marathon-esque aesthetic. I do like what we have now, but I want it to feel more like the Marathon that I know and love. And right now, it's only about 50% of the way towards that.
Yeah.
And on the topic of the art style, something that I am just automatically worried about are the microtransactions in this game. Since literally the first time that I played this game, I have been very, very vocal about this game not going down the live service art style route. And last week when I made that issue apparent, I was told that they're currently looking at the kind of artistic range of the game that they can create cosmetics in.
How whack can we be?
We've heard that before with loads of other franchises. Money is king. If they need to make money, and doing so means breaking that artistic range,
Nicki Minaj in the game, yeah.
I just want this game to keep looking as good as it looks now and go more down the kind of like Marathon aesthetic route as opposed to down the stupid live service art style route.
Please.
And kind of on the same token, I really hope that this game doesn't go the, again, Halo Infinite route and the route that most other live service games go and lock like 99% of cosmetics behind a paywall. I mean, Bungie games have such rich legacies of gameplay-based unlocks.
You know what's fucking insane? The games that fucking made this shit the worst are all first person. Think about that. You pay so that other people can see your shit.
Halo 3 and Reach are still formed over to this
You don't even get to see it
because of that. Now, it's worth noting that I've not heard anything about the way that you unlock cosmetics in this game yet. I've not seen any form of customization, so I don't know how it's going to work. I just really hope that they make sure that a significant majority of the cosmetics are unlocked through gameplay and not through getting out your credit card. And speaking of customization, although I do like the runners from a gameplay perspective, I really wish that they'd done something
Space
with
for
them
Moss.
to allow for like Halo-style piece-by-piece armor customization. From what I've been able to tell, there isn't any kind of like Halo or even Destiny-style armor customization.
Oh.
I think the way that the skins are going to work in this game is they're going to be like modern COD, where it's literally just an overall character skin with no individual customization.
Oh.
Bungie over the years have really set the bar when it comes to player customization.
Even
specifically
Destiny's
with Halo,
customization is still
and
fantastic.
It would really suck if this game doesn't try to at least meet that bar, if not excel it, but I don't think it will do. Now, shifting gears, a criticism that I don't really need to talk about for very long, but it's quite an obvious one, is the fact that there is no single-player campaign in this game.
Yeah, that is a little
I love
odd.
extraction shooters, and I think that Marathon will work really well as one, but at the same time, as an OG Marathon fan, I just really wish that this game had a
Lore
single-player
fellows gonna
campaign.
be
Like,
getting lore
dude,
fellows
could
are
you
literally gonna
imagine
have
how
to make
good
their
an
own
immersive
like
sim
private
would have been
servers so they
in
can find
Marathon's
shit out
universe?
and not get fucking smoked by people just
Maybe
trying
at some
to
point down
like
the line, if
grief
there's
them.
enough feedback about that, they'll do it. But at launch, it's definitely not there.
Just
and
know,
I think
fellas, if I
that is
see y'all trying to make a
grave
raid
missed
lore
opportunity
video,
for
I
this
won't rob
franchise.
you.
Now, something that I was very shocked and quite disappointed at the first time that I played this game was the lack of 4. I expected the 4
No,
to be
4?
full of like scavs and raiders and rogues and bosses from Tarkov, but besides the lookers, they literally aren't in the game at all. And I feel like having them present would have made the game inherently feel so much more like Marathon in more than just a surface level way. Now, again, for what it's worth, I've conveyed this feedback to Bungie since 2023, and every time that I've done so, I've been told that the 4, or rather I've been teased that the 4 are coming down the line. I believe at one point I was even teased that they'd already started working on them. So I think they will be coming to the game, but I just think launching without the 4 I think that's a terrible decision personally. Now, moving on to
You
more
said the compilers are in the game,
gameplay-oriented issues
so
that I've
one of the
got,
4
and
species
The first
is.
one is the fundamental issue that I mentioned earlier, and that's the fact that this game is very clearly designed around trios. The game is designed around the team comps that you can build with 3 players all selecting unique runners, not for individual players. There is a no crew fill option, so you can play solo if you want to, but this game isn't like Tarkov, where you can drop somebody in one shot. The time to kill in this game is, I would say, on par with Halo, quite frankly. And obviously in Halo, going like 1v3 is way harder than a game like COD or Tarkov, where you can kill people fast. So solo is going to be not impossible, but extremely, extremely difficult. I think that they need to launch this game with a solo queue option, or people are going to start leaving in droves. Because like, man, I don't have 3 friends to play with all the time. Like, I definitely don't, and I know a lot of people who also don't. So I'm going to be forced to
Well,
run
your
solo,
time
and
zone,
it's gonna be
Luke?
way harder than
Listen, man.
most other people's experiences. So I think
I'm
having a
up when
solo
you
queue
up,
present
baby.
at launch
Holla.
would fix this issue. I don't know whether they'll do it though, because we've conveyed that feedback to them for 2 years now, and it's one of the things that they seem quite stubborn to move on. This next one is just a very small, not nitpicky, but just a small criticism, and that's just that looting materials and generic items in this game doesn't feel as satisfying as Tarkov, for example. Looting players that you've killed feels really satisfying, but looting stuff like materials off the ground, mostly because you can't immediately ascertain what the item is used for because it's such like an alien item most of the time. Just doesn't feel as satisfying as Tarkov, where like I pick up some nails and I know what they're going to be used for, or like I pick up a radiator hose and I know
That
what
makes
it's gonna be
sense.
used
It's like
for.
delayed
That kind of association
gratification.
with loot isn't really there in Marathon, but granted, maybe that will go away once we get familiar with the game. And kind of on that same note, something that I'm amazed they're not launching with is a player market like the flea market on Tarkov. So all the trading that you do in this game is just with the black market. There is no player-controlled market that you can trade with other players on. And I feel like that's a huge part of the social aspect of games like Tarkov, for example, because not only does it allow you a different way to
I mean, that
interact with
tracks.
players,
Destiny, I still
also,
can't
it
fucking give
gives
people
certain
my
items
fucking
value based on what the
vault
community
full
deems
of
them worth at, not what the game
almost
deems them
god
worth at.
rolls
For example,
to make
rare
their life
keys,
easy.
like, yeah, the keys might be rare, but if the loot behind them isn't very good, then they won't be worth much. But with the value of keys being dictated by the game, not players, that's not going to happen. Everything's going to have like a very fixed price that's not going to be very interesting because there'll be no fluctuations. It's definitely something that I would love to see added down the line. And my final criticism pertains to the weird artificial limitations on weapon customization. So if you find a weapon attachment in-game, you can apply that to your gun if there's nothing in that slot already, but if you want to take a weapon attachment off a gun, you can't do that in-game at all, and right now, I believe
I don't
you
like
can't do
that.
that out of game either. There was a point where you could use a certain item, like
Not
an
the
expensive
fucking
item,
Horizon
to
Zero Dawn
take
mod
attachments off
system.
guns, but I don't like that either. I feel like you should just be able to pull attachments off guns, like whenever you want, in-game or out of game, with no cost, because that allows you to be more individual.
In Horizon Zero Dawn, you could take your mods off your bow, but you had to devote like a whole skill tree to being able to do it, and that shit, dumb.
So, with all that said, with
Very
about
dumb.
40 hours in Marathon right now, I do genuinely enjoy the game, despite the issues that I've outlined here. I think most of those issues can be fixed for launch. I'm curious to hear what you guys think, though, because this is a big deal. Being involved in something this early is also a really big deal. I've never been involved in anything Halo-related this early, so I do want to give a massive thank you to Bungie for getting me involved. But as you can tell, it's not influenced my bias about this game at all. I feel like I've been very honest. So make sure you've subbed so you don't miss all the future videos coming for Marathon and Halo as well, of course. But next few days, I've got some really juicy Marathon content coming that's very exclusive that you aren't going to get anywhere else. So make sure you hit that sub button if you haven't done so already. And so with that said, let's round this very long video out there. I want to give a huge thank you to all of my amazing patrons for the continued support over there.
All right, well,
As
that
usual,
gave me hope.
Thank you all so much, and thank you all so much for watching.
I'm not gonna lie. John Marathon. That's not as good as Foregone, though. You know, I'll also watch the follow-up to this.
The other night, I sat down with one of Marathon's lead writers, John Goff, to discuss Marathon's story and all the surrounding details. And I gotta say, he revealed some pretty interesting
Well, he looked like
stuff
Zach
that I
Wilde,
am
so that's
very
promising.
excited to reveal. So, John is one of the lead writers over at Bungie, and he has been for like well over a decade now, but to us Halo fans, John Goff might seem like a rather familiar name. Well, there's a reason for that. At a very nascent 343 in 2009, he wrote part of Halo Evolutions.
Oh.
Specifically, John wrote Headhunters, so he
That
was the
shit
one
was
who
gas.
created not just the Spartan 3 Headhunters, but also the Silent Shadow. Two things that I think it's fair to say have become fan-favorite elements of Halo's universe among the community. He said that that story, Headhunters, was a really good example of what he likes to do in storytelling. He likes to plant seeds that later germinate into something much bigger. John then came back to Halo a little while later to write Hunting Party, in which the Silent Shadow are reintroduced and also assimilated by Atriox into the Banished. And then,
I just
of
want to
course,
say,
they
this
went on to
guy
have at least a
in
decent
Halo
large
Infinite,
role
I
in
thought it was
Halo
going to be
Infinite.
such a sick
And
boss
then among
fight.
a few other projects, John has also done extensive
That shit was
work
so
on both
disappointing.
Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 stories. And when I say extensive, as you can see by his credits on screen right now, I mean extensive. He's worked on a lot of story stuff for Destiny. So let's get into the questions then. The first question.
Wait,
that I
hang on, let
asked
me
is a
see.
very simple one, but
Let me
I got a
let me
very
actually
right
check
now.
that. Oh, it doesn't say specifically like what
I mean
expansions or whatever he
extensive.
worked
He's
on.
worked
Okay.
on a lot of story stuff for Destiny. So let's get into the questions then. The first question that I asked is a very simple one, but I got a very interesting answer. And that question was simply, is New Marathon canon to the old Marathon?
Oh.
The only reason I asked that, by the way, is because I know there are some people out there who are adamant that New Marathon isn't canon to old Marathon, and well, John's answer completely dispels that myth. Yes, the old games are canon. Everything that happened in the original trilogy happened. But he caveats this by also saying that not everything that happened was necessarily true. Now, of course, that's the case with Marathon Infinity, because 6 out of the 7 timelines in that story are failed timelines, and thus literally aren't canon in the main timeline of the Marathon story. But when I was at Bungie, I was told this,
Smile.
and when I was told it, it was alluded to that it was referring specifically to the AIs. So a lot of Marathon 2 in particular is basically rampant yet metastable Durandal and rampant angry Tycho going at each other, with Tycho in particular being literally stuck in the anger stage of rampancy, and thus is rather irrational throughout that game's story. So I think it's fair to say that Tycho may have bent the truth to his will a few times. But there are also some other unexplained details in Marathon 2, like, for example, how the hell did Durandal manage to mysteriously escape Tycho's capture and then go from being his prisoner to literally destroying his ship and beating him so hard that he burns an epitaph to Tycho in Lawan's moon? There's going from 0 to 100, and then there's that. One of the goals
my
of
man
the new marathon is to
Durandal.
experience the aftermath of what happened in the original trilogy through the eyes of the runners who don't know
Smoke
what
to the
happened,
other
which
AI.
likewise to the player base.
Wrote
And
a
this is your pretty
fucking
classic Bungie
tombstone
storytelling
for him
method.
on a moon.
He said that how original fans of Marathon discover the connections to the original story is part of the experience that they're building. They want fans not necessarily to like one-to-one relive the story beats of the original story, but rather to relive the experience that they had in discovering that original story. Not to relive specific story beats of the original story, but rather to see where those story beats might fit into a new experience that also at the same time feels in line with the kind of character of original Marathon. They want to tell new stories that are also built such that eventually long-running fans are going to start noticing things that start to feel a little bit familiar. So the next few questions I didn't really get much of an answer for.
So Durandal's in the
first
game
one
is what you're
was,
saying.
With Marathon being an extraction shooter, how are you going to be delivering the story? And John simply said that this is something they're going to be diving into later on, so I assume much closer to launch. And then the answer to the next
Man,
three
look at my
questions
man
was
Luke
just
gameplay.
no
All
comment.
crits?
And those questions
Yeah.
were, how frequently can we expect major story beats and in what form? Do you have a time frame in mind for the story that you want to tell with Marathon? And also, will you bring back Vidmaster challenges?
Vidmaster?
Vidmaster challenges actually didn't start with Halo 3. In fact, they're a pretty long-running staple
Wait,
in
what?
Marathon. They started with, I think, Marathon 1. And we haven't had them
Huh?
since ODST, so
How the fuck did you
I'm
record
pretty-
it?
My next question was, will the interconnectivity
camera to
between
monitor?
Destiny, but more importantly, Halo, be upheld? So, quick rundown.
Who
if
the
you don't
fuck had a
know, there's
camera in
been
the
this long-running
90s?
theory for a long time about the Bungieverse, in that in some kind of ethereal way, all the Bungie games are connected.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Pathways into Darkness and Marathon absolutely
It's the
are
Bungie
connected,
multiverse.
But there's so many references and connections between Marathon and
Not a
Halo,
shared
and
universe, it
also
is a
Marathon
multiverse,
and
though.
Destiny, that it starts to seem, when you line them all up, like all the universes are connected in a way.
They are.
This is something that Bungie have never officially acknowledged, and it's more than likely just kind of like not an inside joke, but like inside little tongue-in-cheek references between their IPs. And John's answer was that yes, they will be upheld roughly to the degree that we're
What up,
already
Akano? What's
used to.
happening?
They aren't trying to build a multiverse or anything like that. They want Marathon to stand very much on its own with the new story that they're telling. They don't want to oversell the messaging in creating connections between the universes and have people thinking that, like, for example, Destiny and Marathon are in the same universe just because there was one little reference to Destiny in Marathon.
Eating at
But they
4
will still
a.m.
be peppering stuff in to allow
Great
the
for the
franchises to show
metabolism.
up for each other, just like they have done in the past. Now, it is worth noting that,
Oh,
of
hi,
course,
eating.
Marathon
Yeah.
originally didn't have references to Halo or Destiny, but rather, Destiny and Halo had references to Marathon. And
Yeah.
so, if New Marathon had zero references to neither Halo nor Destiny, then it would actually be very in line with how original Marathon handled this situation. That said, though, I am really interested to see where they take this stuff, given all the extra context for connections between the franchises that's come out since original Marathon ended. I mean, Halo is just brimming with Marathon references, especially in the early days, and Destiny got its fair share as well.
Yep.
Now, this next question was a bit of a reach, but I was quite surprised by the
Nice.
answer I got. And that question was, can we expect to see the 4 again? And John's
Before.
answer was a very ambiguous, but ever so slightly teasing, I don't know. He said that they're of course part of the same franchise,
I
but
need
he also
aliens.
then reiterated that they're coming at the Marathon universe from a different angle with this game. They're exploring where and when this new story takes us
Some
to those
granddaddy
places, and
purpose, some
also
sour
how
diesel
and when
runs.
the old and new
Excellent
worlds
genetics.
are going to collide. But with this new story, their main focuses are
Yes,
the
sir.
runners, the mysteries of Tau Ceti, and the ship. He said that where our runners, almost like Indiana Jonesian adventures on Tau Ceti, are going to take us is, quote, anybody's guess.
Indiana Jones in
Insane to
space?
expect the
Yeah,
unexpected.
now you
So
speaking my
when John
language.
mentioned the ship, of course, the titular UESC Marathon that we actually saw in the trailer, I had to
There's
ask
some
him
new
the
Halo.
question,
It's the new
will we see
new
the
old
OSC
Bungie
Marathon
game,
play a role in
Marathon.
the story? And all I got was an ambiguous yet slightly teasy shrug. And now it's
Marathon was the
interesting,
game they
because I believe
made
it was in
before
Marathon
Halo.
2, it was said that the Marathon was
That
actually
came out around the same
destroyed
time as like the
after
original
Durandal kidnapped you
Dooms.
from it at the end of the first game and I guess the start of the second
And this
game.
is like a,
It's implied
it's not a
that when the
reboot,
Four
but it's a
came
new
back
game
to Tau Ceti after
in the same
first
universe.
game to wipe out the colony that this new Marathon is set in, they also destroyed the Marathon. But clearly, we have a hollowed out moon.
The
with a
Marathon
ship
sitting right
inside it
there.
in the original trailer, which is essentially what the Marathon was. The Marathon was Deimos, Mars's moon,
The game's supposed to be
converted
coming out for
into a
10 years. No,
colony
that was
ship.
Destiny.
So maybe this kind of pertains to what John said earlier about everything in the original trilogy being canon, but not all of it being true.
This is Tarkov
Maybe
in space.
Durandal lied about the fate of the Marathon.
Environmental
so
storytelling.
Wouldn't be tempted to ditch him and try
PV
and return to Tau Ceti and
PvE.
save it. So that instead, he'd stay on
The new
Lawan
technology.
with Durandal and help him find the
Know what I'm saying?
lost Spit clan. You know, I really have a feeling that Bungie are going to be building the story of this new Marathon absolutely in this vein, with mystery and subtle ambiguity at its core to keep us theorizing and guessing over long periods of time, instead of just serving us answers on a silver platter. And honestly, I adore that kind of storytelling. It's a style of storytelling that they used to use here and there with Halo, and it's also the exact kind of storytelling
the
that
Ronald
made me
Reagan.
fall in love with classic zombies and also FromSoft games as well. Either way though, this game focuses on Tau Ceti, and what hangs in the orbit of Tau Ceti? Why the Marathon, of course. And you know, it's funny, I actually didn't realize how much of a presence the actual Marathon has in the reveal trailer until now. I mean, surely that has to mean something. The next
Yes.
question that I asked was a very reachy question, and that was, will wider elements of the Marathon universe, like the Yarrow and the Working Kakenta and stuff like that, play roles in this story? And again, I got a similar answer to my other reachy questions, which was basically no comment, except with some more details. So John said that the main focus with the story is initially on the runners, on building the runner fantasy and establishing this new angle to look at the Marathon universe from, but also that old stuff is by no means being ignored nor forgotten.
Okay.
But that it needs to fit in with the cadence and the pace of what gets uncovered in the new story.
Uh-huh.
It really seems to me like their first and foremost goal is not to re-deliver the old Marathon story, but rather to re-deliver the old Marathon experience. The experience that we had uncovering the story in those old games for the first time ourselves using our own agency. And to allow new fans to experience that kind of magic via a new story that's also set in that old universe. I then asked him if the runners are going to get their own backstories, and his verbatim answer was,
Yeah, it's gameplay that he got to record at his playtest.
which gave us some really interesting insight into the way they're going to be delivering the story, was, what's your favorite thing about telling a story specifically in an extraction shooter? And he said, if we do it right, we get to build a world that's more experiential than told.
Good.
We get to build a world first and foremost over just telling stories.
This is what I'm
The most
fucking
important
talking about.
stories that we the players will tell are the ones that we make on
Yeah,
Friends with
like
Our Friends.
everything
Their
about
stories,
the fact
Bungie
that he's
stories,
impressed
will
by
never
its
be
like
more
storytelling mechanics
say
and like
that is a
some of the
very,
shit that he's
very
seen
classic
makes it
Bungie
promising
way
to
of
me because he
approaching
likes a lot of the
storytelling,
same
especially
things about
player-driven
games that I do.
That is like almost verbatim the exact.
I watched all the shit like all myself
But
to
then
form my
specifically
own
on the
opinion,
story
and
itself,
my
he said
least
that
favorite
they
thing
want
about
to
the
tell
game
stories
honestly is the
that we
art
the
style.
players can take some kind of ownership
Like
over.
everything else, I'm
extraction
like,
shooters are a
ooh,
great
I kind
genre
of
to do
like
that in.
this.
He said that telling
I just-
just linear stories.
I'm
makes
not
it too
crazy
easy to
about the
fall into
art
trap
style.
of Just telling
I'm
stories
being nice. I fucking hate it.
Whereas they want to build
But
a real and reactive world
everything
that
else,
feels like more than
I'm like,
just
you know,
a story.
man,
This
shit
style
kinda
of
sounded
taking
like
ownership
something
over
for
a
me,
story
you know what I'm
is,
saying? It's
again,
kinda
very
wild,
classic
you know.
Bungie. And John even said himself that that storytelling style shares the exact same DNA
You like the art
as
style?
Destiny, as Halo, and even OG
Oh,
Marathon.
that
He said
bodes
that there are
well
gonna be
for it, I
multiple
guess.
avenues to get people into the story, so there will be some kind of linear stuff, but there will also be a lot of discovery and experiential storytelling as well. And then also, there are going to be different tiers of interest that you can have in the story and still enjoy the universe. And again, this is something that Halo did in abundance, right? Casual story fans just play the campaigns. More hardcore story fans read the terminals. And then ultra lore fans like us read the books. Again, that kind of player-driven storytelling is core to the DNA of Bungie. It has been for over 30 years now, and by the looks of it, Marathon 2025 is going to be carrying forward that DNA.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that John said was that they want to create a world that feels
I have some
alive and
hope.
reactive to the consequences of your actions, which again falls in line with that DNA. So it really feels like Marathon's story overall is going to be very much player-driven and player-uncovered. And I mean, that's a good thing to me because, I mean, you look at Halo, for example, there's a reason that we're still discussing and analyzing mysteries from Halo 3 and even Halo 2.
Doesn't look like every other FPS in existence. I definitely don't like that it has like the Apex Legends running animations and shit like that. But it has like the Destiny gunplay.
Classic zombies and the way that it told its stories.
So
Bungie's storytelling DNA has always made the player an active agent in piecing together what's going on. There's a time and a place for linear stories, and John did kind of tease that Marathon would be doing some of that, but at the same time,
the fundies, yeah. I mean, that's good for me, right? Because I like how Bungie games feel more than literally anything else.
Just immediately hypes up the immersion.
So if the core
That's
shooting
exactly
feels
why
good,
Halo
like
3's
that's
terminals were such fascinating bits of story to
good.
uncover, or why piecing together Reach's data pads was so enthralling.
You know,
The
I've
devs weren't
never
just
gotten
telling
all
us
the
what
data
everything
pads in
meant.
Reach.
We were the ones trying to piece it all together and trying to read between the lines to uncover the true
I
meaning
forgot they
ourselves.
existed.
And that is why those stories are so memorable and iconic. So, big thank you to John for actually coming on and doing this video. I really appreciate it. We did say that closer to launch, we're going to do this video again, but with questions that can be more pressing and, you know, a bit more reachy, because obviously right now they've only just revealed the game. There's not much they can really talk about, but close to launch, well, that all changes. So make sure you sub so you don't miss that. And so, with that said, I'm going to round this video out there. I want to give a massive thank you to all of my amazing patrons for the continued support over there as per usual.
Do I fuck up
so
the
much, and
do
thank
I
you
want
all
to be
so
the
much for
one to
watching.
fuck up
I
the
really
777?
And I'll catch you all in the next one.
I feel like that's a crime, right? Like I have to leave that there. I can't be the one to do it. I gotta let someone else do it. I'll come back. If you're wondering, that's because the Bungo loves 7. So like, to break that would just be like heretical. All right. Well, I'm cautiously optimistic that I might get some enjoyment out of this video game. I think that's where I'm going to leave it. I'm not actively discouraged by what I saw, which in this economy is about all I can ask for. That's pretty high praise coming from me at this point. So, yeah. That shit cool. And the question is, what are we going to game on now? Know what I'm saying? Time for some gaming, probably. Or some guitarra. Looks good enough to at least try to you, Kappa. I mean, I'm going to try it. I don't give a shit if anybody else try it. Not often a new Bungie game come out. And what the fuck else am I going to get this year? The Hunter x Hunter game? Nah, I'm not playing Street Fighter. I could spend my time like doing just about anything else and enjoy my life more. I'm fucking good on Street Fighter. Game is fucking ass, bro. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to stand there and react to somebody being a fucking idiot and DP them 15 times. Like, yeah, if I get to the point where I can just do that, I'm the better player. But, like, do I care? I'm not gonna compete in this fucking game. Fuck Street Fighter. Fucking coin flip simulator featuring fucking positioning anti-air mini game. Mario Party 6. I don't know. I don't know if fighting games aren't for me, but I'm starting to be pretty sure that Street Fighter 6 is definitely not the fighting game for me if they are. I just don't. Game is ass. I don't even think the game is ass, really. I just don't. I don't think it's for me. Like, I've given it 2 years. If I was passionate about it, like, I would sit there and go through the suffering, but I'm really not. You know what I mean? What do I want to play, though? That's the question. Can resume my Assassin's Creed playthrough. Gotta get it back on that before I forget. Halo ODST. I'm already tired. That shit'll put me to sleep. That is a good option, though. God damn it. Excuse me. I'll put on some Halo ODST music while I figure out what the fuck I'm gonna do. That don't seem like a bad idea. Oh, nice background noise, you know what I'm saying? Home. Oh no, just like the atmosphere will put me to sleep. It's so relaxing. The city parts are like, or I should say the rookie segments are slow paced. The other parts are just like Halo levels. Even the sniper mission in that game is pretty fast paced for like the non rookie levels. You know, I think I do need to make another coffee. That shit took 2 hour 40 minute for all that material. Yeah, I'm gonna go make a coffee. I'll be right back. Oh. Yeah, this probably is good studying music. Like a chill lo-fi beat. I'm sick. Ah, my bad. That took so long. We back. Oh. Alright. I had to close the windows and shit because it was dumb cold. Alright, the fuck we doing now? That is the question. What are we gaming on? I could catch up on Destiny story. Play some Yu-Gi-Oh! My capture card's not plugged in, so I don't know if I want to do Assassin's Creed right now, but I guess I could. Any opinion havers? I can't promise I'll take your opinion into account, but... Hang on one sec, I'm also going to turn off the light.
TentGirl.com is a domain that 30 years ago began displaying this eerie sketch of a woman, her identity, a mystery that police tried and failed for decades to solve. That was until one dedicated, bordering on obsessed internet sleuth finally cracked the case. It all began with a horrifying discovery on the night of May 17, 1968, in Georgetown, Kentucky. A well digger named Wilbur Riddle was walking around Route US 25 while he waited for his boss to show up. He was scanning the ground for discarded telephone pole insulators, an easy way to make a few bucks back in the day. But then, something unusual caught his eye. Amid the scattered glass bottles and debris, a large, oddly shaped bundle reflected the headlights of passing cars. A green tarp bunched up in the brush. Strange, he thought, moving in for a closer look. Curious, he nudged the bundle with his foot, sending it rolling down the embankment. But when his foot touched the bundle, instead of feeling hard like scrap metal or some other trash, it felt soft, too soft. The tarp unraveled slightly as it tumbled, and for a brief moment, Wilbur thought it might be a dead animal. However, a dread crept into his gut, and so he forced himself to step closer and investigate. He prodded the bundle again, and this time, it felt harder. Focusing his eyes on that spot, the hairs on the back of his neck stood up, and his throat tightened as a realization slowly dawned on him. It appeared to be a human leg. And the hard part he had just kicked, it was the head. Immediately after seeing the macabre sight, Wilbur hopped into his truck and drove like a man possessed to the nearest gas station, which was 2 miles away. There, he frantically called the authorities about his discovery. Shortly after, Sheriff Bobby Vance, along with Deputy Jimmy Williams and Coroner Kenneth Grant, met with the still shaken well digger, who led them to the body's location. As is protocol, they asked Wilbur what he was doing in the backwoods of town, for which he replied that he was an assistant well digger and that he, along with his boss, were hired on a drilling project nearby. He stated that since his boss left a note that he was going to be late and that he shouldn't start without him, he thought it was a good opportunity to scrounge up sellable parts. After the initial questioning, the police asked Wilbur to show them where he discovered the alleged body. As soon as they arrived, an overwhelming stench filled the air, a smell that left no doubt about what lay ahead. Cutting open the fabric, they uncovered the body of a woman in an advanced state of decomposition, laid bare before the horrified officers. Upon initial investigation, they were unable to identify the victim, as she had no personal belongings to reveal her name, only what seemed to be a small towel draped over her shoulder with no notable identifying marks, and thus, authorities gave her a haunting name, Tent Girl, a reference to the fact that the green canvas that her body was wrapped in was a fabric often used to make tents at the time. No other physical evidence was found at the crime scene to provide investigators with a solid lead. With the initial investigation complete, the body was taken to St. Joseph Hospital in Lexington. There, Dr. James McClellan undertook the unenviable task of determining how this young woman met her tragic end. The autopsy report detailed that the victim was approximately 5 feet 1 inch tall and weighed around 110 pounds. She had reddish-brown hair, a noticeable gap between her front teeth, and was estimated to be in her late teens. To make matters even more difficult, Tent Girl had no other distinguishing marks to help investigators uncover her identity. Furthermore, advanced decomposition made it challenging to produce an accurate sketch, as the discoloration of the eyes and the altered shape of the nose distorted the original features. It was one of the worst hands an investigator could be dealt, the last thing they want in such a gruesome case. It was approximated that she had been dead for anywhere between 2 to 3 weeks. No bullet wounds, stab wounds, or signs of strangulation were found. Due to the body's advanced decomposition, the specific events leading to her death by asphyxiation could not be confirmed. Investigators theorize that Tent Girl may have been struck on the head with a blunt object, rendering her dazed or unconscious. The killer then wrapped her body tightly in the green tarp she was found in, securing both ends and dumping her over the embankment. Trapped inside the tarp, unable to move, see, or call for help in her weakened state, it was believed that the likely cause of death was asphyxiation. A detailed sketch by Covington Patrolman Harold Musser was later released to the public in the hope that someone would recognize the young woman. With no other leads, police could only pin their hopes on the sketch, that someone would come forward to identify Tent Girl. If not, she might become just another name lost in the shuffle of unsolved cases. On top of that, there was a killer out there on the loose who, for all they knew, could strike again. But if they could identify the victim, perhaps it would lead them on a trail to the killer. Immediately after Tent Girl's sketch was released to the public, more than a dozen people arrived at the Frankfurt police station wondering if she was their missing loved one. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you looked at it, each person left either disappointed or with renewed hope that their loved one could still be out there, alive and well. In the weeks that followed, police received over 100 calls, each one carrying a desperate voice on the other end of the line. Out of all these potential leads, only 3 showed promise. The first was the case of Loretta Jean Slusser, who was reported missing by her family about a year before the discovery of Tent Girl. A recent update to her case was a reported sighting in Florence, Kentucky, roughly 60 miles from Georgetown. Loretta, who would have been around 16 at the time, matched the description almost to a T, even down to the cavities in her 2 upper front teeth. Miss Slusser's mother was asked to travel to Frankfurt to meet with the state detective in charge.
That is possible. This is America. Nani? God damn. This picture cannot be taken when he was 17. I was about to lose it. Huh. Hmm. This fella funny looking. Marathon. Why is he lying there with a gun in this picture? What the fuck? This fella funny shaped. Oh shit. Not the IBM. Oh. I don't like that implication. It's porn. It contains porn. Nani? Nani? Did you though? Oh dear. Yep. He done did it. That boy there done did it. Hmm. Oh. Jesus. What happened to the children? Grandmother. What? How the fuck could you possibly be a... I don't want to ask that question, actually. A who? Huh? Damn, that's so young. Hmm. That's cool. Oh. Hmm. What am I doing? I'm a lot more tired than I thought I was gonna be after watching all that shit. I realized it was gonna be so fucking long. I might actually wrap up here for the night. I am, I'm kind of fading. I can't lie to you. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll be back in the near future doing some more of the usual shit. But that is going to be it for now. Y'all have a good night, morning, or whatever the fuck it is where you're at. And peace. Oh.